Well, hello everybody out there in the YouTube universe joining us tonight. Um, Here we are for our monthly image review. We have 70 images to share tonight, a wide variety of subject matter, and we haven't converted everybody to wildlife photography yet, but we're working on it. But I think as you're going to see in upcoming shows on the general discussion show on the third Saturday of the month. I'm just going to say you're going to be reaching for the stars pretty soon. So I'll let Gustavo talk about that after we do the photos. And we do have some general discussion topics and some little bit of stuff from all the most of the brands anyway regarding rumors or general information, some things that I dug up on the different brands. And I'm going to do a little, I don't know, an opinion piece on a certain camera that came out that's kind of like drawing a lot of mixed, a lot of scrutiny, which I don't know if it's all fair, but how everything is in the world of cameras. I mean, one person's treasure is another person's poison, so you can never make everybody happy no matter what camera it is. So we're going to wait till we get a few more people in here and obviously say hello to, we'll go down the list here of everybody that's on the panel, have them say hello to you and let you know if they're working on anything interesting or whether they're locked in the house because it's too hot, like I have been for seems like forever. So we'll say hello to Chuck first and let him acknowledge the crowd here of 14 and growing. He's got a new cat with him, but it's kind of hidden, and he doesn't want to wake the kitty up. But he's got two cats now.
You're on mute, Chuck.
I think you're on mute, Chuck.
Yeah, it works a little bit.
Either that or the cat chewed up something.
I guess I've been working on speech pretty much, and is really beginning to take it neck. So, and I really enjoy. I know you guys didn't in the last two rib. I wasn't in the last, but we've had a new cat and well, I don't know, some other things, but I hope everybody else is having a good time, and I know I'll be here tonight watching out.
Good. We're glad to have you, as always. You're missed when you're not here, and we get concerned when we don't see you because you're a fixture, and we get a little nervous when we don't see you for a couple of weeks. We definitely get nervous.
He's the boss. He's the boss. So
that's right. That's right. He's the man with the best haircut in the group. So well, or it helps when you have hair to cut as well. So that helps. Terry, what have you been up to?
All right. Nothing special, nothing exciting. I haven't go out. Nothing much.
Just taking it easy for a change.
Yeah. My mother-in-law has some problems. That's why. Yeah.
The man that never takes it easy is the guy below you here, is Mr. Gustavo, because he always has a abundance of wildlife that actually knocks on his door and says, "Hey, you ready to take some pictures of us?" And he goes,
Exactly.
"Absolutely." He just goes out on his porch and gets all these award-winning shots, and then shares them on the photo review.
Well, no, but yeah, I've been working on my hummingbird photography, but besides that, also I have uh, a bunch of contractors dealing with some issues here at the house, painting first, then I now some deck repairs. So my wallet is crying a little bit. So I'm glad there is no cameras to be bought yet, because yes, it's so dealing with contractors, and then trying to get a couple of hours to do some photography.
Well, it'll be, you know, it's bad if the credit cards jump out of the wallet and run away.
Exactly. Exactly.
And speaking of, you know, Chuck now having a second cat, Randall now has a new addition to the Brander family.
Uh, Picked up a German Shepherd, 6 months old. Named him Lucky. Someone dropped him off, and I kind of rescued him. But talking about I paid money for uh, my dog that I was at the vet's for um, getting her remains. And then his mother and son came walking in saying, "Hey, we can't bring the dog home, but the guy just dropped him off. We've been to a couple of shelters. They're filled up. I don't want to take him to a shelter where they kill animals." And I says, "Okay, I'll take him." So now I got
See,
a
now Randall made the mistake of calling the dog Lucky because the dog's already chewing up pillows. So the dog's going to be lucky if he's around in another week.
It's either me or my cat. My cat might get him. So
But the puppy years will pass, Randall. So that's a good news.
You might want to consider a new name. Maybe Jaws would be more appropriate.
yeah,
And Mr. Stewart, I know that you've been having fun with your new astrophotography stuff and trying to convince Mother Nature to be kind to you so you can actually have conditions in which to try to use it.
Well, I haven't gotten that far yet. But anyway, I'm making up a list of things that went wrong, and it is much longer than my list of things that went right. And so I'm working on writing a book, all the things that can go wrong with astrophotography. And I think part of it is I set my goal is too high, so I'm going to have to do something more realistic. But that's no fun. You know,
You got to backpedal and start off in first gear instead of third gear, right?
oh, why bother? But I the way I set it up is I could use my short glass with almost anything. To use my longer glass, I need a better setup, and so I'm starting off using my 70 to 200, and then when I get it working, I'm going to put my 500 PF on and see what I can do. But
That's high expectations.
yeah, anyway, my
And,
camera shouldn't have done that, but it did. Anyway, I'm back, and I'll
You're
pass it
back.
over to Roy.
Roy, what have you been up to? Long time no see. It seemed like I haven't seen you for a year, it feels like.
I've got about 50 odd small videos to edit. I'm on the last 10.
Uh-huh. You going to surprise us?
No, they're nothing to do with your stuff. It's technical stuff.
Ah,
The
okay.
machine's working and not working. And
I tried to capture on video the storm that we had last night, and it's like by the time I got the camera out of the cabinet or whatever, the more interesting part of the storm had slowed down a little bit. I mean, the water was hitting the door to my right, which you can't see, with such force. It was like someone was shooting the water from a fire truck hose on the window. I mean, it was just coming, and the wind was ramped up pretty good. The palm trees were blowing like crazy, and I'm like, what is it, a hurricane outside? I mean, it was crazy. I mean, we've gotten so much rain. It's enough with rain and humidity and all that yucky stuff. I look forward to got to wait a couple months for it to get nice again, I guess. But anyway, let's say hello to those in the chat quickly before we start the show. And let's see, we have Rakesh in here. So hello, Rakesh. Robert Varner's here. And we got Robert from Connecticut. And let's see, Bob Photos is here. Bob just got back from PA at 5:15 a.m. this morning. So I think he's going to look at his pictures and then go to take a nap. Jeff and Leslie are here. And, Art Bear. Nice to see you, Ted. Ted's here, Chuck.
I see you.
And we got, let's see, the drunk wedding photographer's joining us. He says he's sheltering. Yeah, we all. It's funny when you're in New England in the winter, you shelter. You stay in your house in the wintertime because it's too cold and too much snow, and then down south in the summertime you're sheltering because it's too hot and you don't want to go outside. So we all have our fun, and so I think that's what we have so far. We got 20 people, so I'm going to start bringing up the slides for the show.
So
we'll get started in a minute here, and let me just usually like to get about 24 in here before we start it. I guess I'll just talk about, one thing in my general discussion section here that I was going to hold off till the end, just to buy us a few minutes of time and see if we get a few more people in here before we start. Some of you have probably noticed that in certain stores in the U.S. anyway, I don't know about overseas, but even at B&H Photo and some of the camera stores, all of a sudden there's Minolta products showing up. And so I'm going to give everybody a cautionary warning because Minolta isn't who you think Minolta is. Okay, so myself and Art Bear are big Minolta fans from way back when. Both of us have a handful of vintage Minolta cameras that we love to have and use. And unfortunately, when the brand eventually got absorbed or the photo division got sold to Sony, what you're seeing as Minolta now is the brand is just being licensed to a company called Elite Brands Incorporated, and they're the U.S. importer of Samyang lenses. Most, if not all, of the stuff that you see in these stores, like Best Buy and even B&H Photo sells some of this stuff, is made in China, so the quality is subjective at best. But they have them in, like I said, Best Buy, Costco, Sam's Club, a lot of those types of stores. And I'm just warning you because a lot of consumers who don't know and they think Minolta's making a comeback, it's important that you know it's not who you think they are, okay? And now this new company, they've come out with a 12 by 32 and a 10 by 25 4K digital binoculars that have come out. They shoot video and they capture high-res photos up to 48 megapixels. So it might be something of interest to those who are more bird watchers than photographers who use spotting scopes and binoculars all the time. And if do a little research on those models, see if the quality is halfway decent, and I'm sure the price point is very favorable, maybe it's something you might want to try and experiment with and be able to actually have some images of what you always go looking for when you go out
So
looking for birds.
how do they solve the uh, trademark issues?
The brand, it's a whole legal thing. I mean, I looked it up. I mean, if there's a certain number of years that have expired, I think someone can basically buy the name,
All right.
and that's what someone did, and then the someone who bought it is licensing that name out to other people.
Oh,
But like I said, if you're trying to figure out who the other people are, I mean, in the U.S. it's a company called Elite Brands, but a lot of the product, at least all the product that I've seen, has been from China, made in China, and it's the quality is fair. I think it's going to take a while, maybe eventually. Like some of the Chinese lenses are pretty good now. And in the beginning, we would have just poo-pooed them and said, don't buy a lens made in China. But there are some lens manufacturers there now that do a pretty good job with lenses. So I think it's a matter of time, and maybe, there'll be some stuff there that people would be interested in. Oh, these binoculars I just found, I did have the price here, $249 and $299, depending on the model that you buy. So, I mean, that's not bad, really.
no.
But time will tell whether or not it's a favorable item or not. So, it doesn't look like we're going to hit 24 anytime soon. So we're just going to jump into the show, I think, so that we're not here till 2 o'clock in the morning. And let me bring up the screen. Make sure it's maximized here.
Great.
And as always, I will count on those on the panel to keep track of new people that come in to make sure we welcome them and say hello, because I can only see them if I'm turning my head to look at my laptop, which I don't do a lot while I'm trying to focus on the images here and the talking points.
Anita joined as well. Yeah.
Oh, hello, Anita. Good to see you. So we're going to start off. The first set of images are the first three candidates up to bat is Bob Reppert, followed by Anita, and then after Anita is Randall. So those are the first three groups of images that we're going to see. And the image that you're looking at now, and the next first five images here are all going to be were taken with the Z8 and the 180 to 600 millimeter zoom, f6.3. This first shot is f6.3, 1/800th of a second at ISO 800 at 600 millimeter. And this is oyster catchers. Okay, they've had their young. Their young, in this case, are probably just below the bank. You can't see them. They don't come out as often as we would like. And one thing is certain: when you have a mama and papa oyster catcher, do not appreciate having any other adults from the other areas intrude on their space. That does not go over well. Once they lay the eggs, they're very protective of their what they consider their part of the territory. And so Bob, captured this image here with a little encounter. And then here it is, Chase, get out of here. Get out of Dodge. Get out of here.
Beautiful.
And now here's one, a real nice shot of one prying open a clam and, pulling out the insides of it. And usually if I remember correctly, that was originally in the water, and eventually it moved it up onto the bank of the shore. And you could just see, there's literally thousands and thousands of, empty oyster shells and clams on the embankment here, all because of these guys, basically.
Wow.
They are fun to watch them eat. This shot was f6.3 1/800th of a second, ISO 1400 at that 600 millimeter focal length. And then he has the next shot. There's the meat. That's what you want. There's that big glob of food.
Love that photo, Bob.
Very, very, very nice.
And the reflection is it helped. It's not a white reflection, but you get mirroring of the colors. Love it.
Yeah, and this is in an area where the water isn't commonly still, because you have boats going up and down.
Okay.
In this area, in the marsh area, and also just a lot of tidal action, and so to have it flat and glassy looking isn't something that you see a lot of. Let's put it that way.
No, but it still looks nice. I like the light, I like the reflection. Beautiful.
There's just enough reflection there.
And so beautiful.
Now his last shot that he sent in is
Men at work.
These two guys that got stranded in the water because the engine conked out. So let's just say they had to do an about face and pushed the boat back for a while until the gentleman to the left got in the front of the boat and got the paddle out and started trying to paddle the boat back to shore. But yeah, it's you see a little bit of everything when you're out there.
They have to try on a downhill.
So yeah, so they should just, if they have their fishing poles in there, they should just like cast it out and hook a boat that goes by them, that's going back to the docks, and then get a free tow. So that's it for Bob. Thank you, sir, for
Very nice.
for dropping these off for the show, and go get a good night's sleep, because I know you drove the whole night into the early morning hours to get home. So he had an enjoyable visit with his family up in Philadelphia. So the next images are from Anita, and all her photos are with the Z8. No, I don't. Well, I don't think that's right. Let's see. Maybe I wrote it down wrong. Let me bring up her first shot here. No, it is with the. Okay, I thought I repeated repeating what Bob was using, the Z8 with the 180 to 600 zoom, and this is at f6.3, ISO 1250, 1/8000th of a second. So we got Anita getting into the wildlife genre more as well. It's fun to experiment, I mean, the way I look at it, somebody says, "Oh, you're just a wildlife guy." I go, "No, that's not true." I mean, I take anything I see interesting. It all depends on where I am at the time. I'll take pictures of pretty much anything.
And that is a snipe or a woodcock. What did Anita mention? I always get confused with those.
I'm trying to think of
Or a snipe, but
what that is. I'm not sure.
I seen Jeff and Leslie, the wildlife and nature photography. Anita, did you mention it in your note?
No.
No, I bet you she knows what it is, though.
No, she knows what it is. Well, I'm thinking it's the one I'm drawing a blank. The one that I get on the beach getting the sand crabs.
The pigeon.
No.
Yeah, long nose.
No, I'm just trying to think of.
We check, but could be a snipe.
but that's her first image anyway. And then of course David says that that Anita is the horse whisperer, official horse whisperer. And here's her
Wow.
her horse image.
Beautiful horse.
This is at 600 millimeters with the zoom
Nice.
with the baby.
Snap.
Yeah, very nice.
And action as well.
So Anita, a question for you since you're in the chat is: do you have to drive very far to get in a location where you're able to get the horse shots that you get, or is it close to where you live? And she said that other one is a snipe, yeah. Now her third image that she sent in is of the bighorn sheep.
Yes.
This is at 400 millimeter setting with the zoom, 1/800th of a second, f6, ISO 800. So she had good light, and it's content. Looks like it just got done chewing on something. It's got a little bit hanging out of it off its chin.
That's lunch.
That's lunch.
And this is by the road in Jasper or on Banff. Where do you photograph that?
Nice sharp eye.
And yeah, I like the detail. Very sharp. Very sharp. The
Oh yeah.
this one's cute. That's a nice pose with the hands, like, you know, just kind of like curled towards the body. The animal's definitely relaxed and not, you know, in any kind of frightened state. And that's at 500 millimeters, 1/1250th of a second, f6.3, ISO 800.
This is getting to be a pretty popular lens.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's you really you need, you know, not that you use one like that all the time, but I tell you, when you do need to have a zoom of some kind for wildlife. You can get stuck where you just got your glasses just too long. I mean, I have that happen to me more often than I want to admit.
Steve Perry have a very nice test about this lens.
Yep. And then Nina's last shot, she's got this osprey.
Woo. Wow.
Wow.
And
Very good, Anita. Very good, Anita. Love
she's
your
able
wife.
to get some gray, white and gray clouds in there. I always complain that I either have all clouds or just blue sky. So thank you, Anita, for sending those in.
Fantastic.
We appreciate it very much. Now, Randall, I'm going to let you talk about yours, and I want to commend you as well. You're obviously, as of the last photo review and this photo review, expanding your photo opportunities a bit, and I liked it when you did the models in the water. There was something that caught us all off guard, and I like where you're going with what you're doing, and I just want to give you a nod of appreciation, and we'll let you talk about your images. Here's the first one.
All right.
Okay.
Nice.
So that's not it.
That's Anita still?
Is that still
Probably Anita.
Anita?
No, this one was yours. believe it or not, you said you got this with a. I don't think this is Anita's.
No, that's Anita's because
Is
she.
it Anita's? Okay,
Yeah,
I guess I
186.
messed up.
The same bird.
Yeah,
It's good.
Looks like,
That's
it looks like the head got pulled off already.
Somebody's head is going off too.
Somebody's head's blown off.
Randall, take the credit.
Take the credit, Randall.
no,
Oh, it was mine. It was mine.
We're all gonna fight for the credit.
Very
But,
good.
the two previous shots that Anita did was at 400 millimeters. No, I'm sorry, at 250 millimeters, and then that one was at 600 millimeters.
Yeah.
They're excellent. They're like sharp, and I hope to get that good.
Well, now I think we got you right.
You're right. I call this the balancing act. And so this the rain started, and this is before we had the flash flood, but we had quite a bit of rain. And then right after this, the night, I think it was that night that we had the flash flooding that killed a lot of people in the hill country in Texas. And even in the northern part of Texas in the panhandle. So they had a lot of flooding there. But with all the rain, it moved the logs downriver, and I saw the biggest turtle, and he was sleeping, and I had to do a double take because look, he's balancing on his stomach. I don't think any of, maybe his two front legs are touching, the fingernails are touching the, or his claws touching the bark, but the two back legs are straight up in the air. And I thought it was fantastic. This was
Gee.
taken by the Canon R52, and I was using the 100 to 500 millimeter, and it's an f4.5 to 7.1 aperture. But it's a great shot. When I went back after the flood, that log was gone. It was swept away.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna go to your next one because you got one a little bit wider angle with his mouth open, probably saying, "What the heck's going on here?"
So this is at what was it, 1/800th, and let's see, this was at ISO 3200 at f10 and at 800 millimeter. But the first shot was in crop mode. This was not. This was in full frame, and it was also the RF Mark II. But it's the same turtle. He moved down a little bit, but he
I don't
was
know
a
if
big
he's just
turtle.
saying yeehaw. Maybe he's saying yeehaw.
The only thing, Randall, that I would say on that one, just because I would say the same thing that Jeff, that glad to see that you are experimenting with wildlife as well. And the prior one was very nice, correct? And turtles are great subject, correct? Particularly you
It
get
is
Yeah, they
contagious.
don't move.
well, and they you get a good light, and you got obviously a nice pose with all that balancing. But in this one, Randall, watch out for horizon, correct? And remember, you
Yeah.
with these are five, correct? You have plenty to crop, so you can over reorient the photo, correct? Because I
So
think it's a little bit tilted. So, but it's good. So I love it. I love the photo.
so I experimented in crop and then in full frame just to show the difference.
Yes.
I used a different camera at this time, and I
Mhm.
had the 200 to 800. That's the RF. And this is my crepe myrtle tree in the front. It finally bloomed with all the rain that came down.
That is a
And
huge crepe myrtle too. That is huge.
yes,
Yes.
and believe it or not, I cut the limbs earlier in the spring, and it's not touching the roof, but it's over the roof. That's how tall it grew. So I don't know. It's tall. But
Yeah,
beautiful
I
white
don't
flowers.
see any. I don't see many down here that are, they can be tall, but not as. This is very wide as well. Very wide. It's a nice, beautiful tree.
Yeah, that was shot at what was it? 100 millimeters. Yeah.
What do
Yeah.
they say, Randall? Everything is bigger in Texas. There you have it.
Ah,
Yeah. So then he decided, I don't want the tree anymore. I want the light bulb.
right. So this is my neighbor's light bulb, and I use the R62 again with the 100 to 500, and um, I like that lens. It's faster than some. I got the 100 to 400, which is a lot easier to carry, but that 500 does give it a little extra reach. So, but if you can see the filament and then the bokeh behind the light bulb, that made the shot. So I like that.
Not quite a bright idea, but close, you know.
So now
Oh,
Randall's lucky enough.
Hello.
Randall also has wildlife in his yard.
Yes.
exactly. Sometimes.
And I have a couple of deer with their fawns. I come up to my bird bath to drink the water. So I make sure it's full at nighttime also. And I sometimes, since my cat is not eating some of the dry cat treats, I put it out there and I see rabbits and deer and they're eating from it. So I says, well, that's one good thing of getting rid of that stuff. My cat's not eating it. But anyway, I was in the car driving, and this was just before a car vlog, and these deer just stop, and they're from the next neighborhood, but they've been coming over here because we have water out, in our yards, and that's what they're coming for because it's getting hot. But this is like middle of the night, and this is with I think the Panasonic, if I'm correct. Yeah, 35 millimeter f2.
Yeah, you said the Panasonic S1
Yeah, S1 R
or
Mark
two.
II. It's
Yeah.
a 44 megapixel camera, just like the Canon and the well, the Sony's a 61 megapixel that I have, but yeah, I like those high megapixels. But you see,
Randall, this was illuminated by the street light, correct?
yeah, well, actually, it wasn't by a street light. That's from the camera.
I see a strong
There is no
shadow,
street light.
but you see the strong shadow in the in
Well,
the in the.
now it might be from my car light, on the side.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
No, it can't be your car because the angle of the
Yeah.
shadow. It's
right,
either got to be a street light or the moon.
right.
Right,
So
yeah.
I'm doing this right outside the passenger window, and I
Okay.
took a shot, and she just stood there looking at me. So okay, say cheese. She didn't do that, but,
But that's good, Randall. Correct.
yeah,
The doing urban wildlife, correct? And here you got right the size of the deer versus the house behind, correct? So it tells a story of urban wildlife. So that's another winner for me, Randall.
all right. And this is a pink crepe myrtle. This is by the park. It's a children's park in the next neighborhood that I like going to because it's right next to the drainage ditch that goes into the Cibolo Creek. And, I got purple and I got white, but I don't have pink. And I decided to take a picture with this. This is now get this, 16 millimeter. Okay. And it's done with the R8, which is basically the low end, uh,
So is that
cheapest
like a
full frame.
24 megapixel Canon?
Yeah, for a Canon.
Yeah.
And but still, it took a great picture. But this 16 millimeter is a full frame lens, and I really don't get any distortion from it. So it looks wonderful. And that's a close-up shot of it.
Now here,
Yeah,
on
distortion
this
on the right
next
corner.
shot, you're changing cameras again.
Yes.
So on this one,
This
you're
is
using the Sony.
A7CR, which is a 61 megapixel camera. And I'm using the, let's see if the
You got the
55
Zeiss 55 millimeter.
right,
Yep.
f1.8, and
Yep.
it's the ZA. Yeah, Z alpha, right. So this is another mother deer. To the right are her two fawns. And I see her all the time. She comes down my street, and I guess she recognizes me because I drive around the neighborhood a lot, in that white car. But then when she sees me walking, she always stops and looks at me. So it was easy to take that shot.
So this was your last one here of the young ones.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's to the right.
Yep.
And that was with the same lens and the same camera.
Beautiful.
Boy, they're cute, aren't they?
They are. And they're growing fast too. So there's about 3 or 4 of these mothers with their fawns coming over. One fawn was, I think, got by the coyotes. And one mother was hit where she's limping on her front right leg. So I don't know how long she's going to last. But they're doing good. We see coyotes now and then, but we don't hear the howling. So that's a good thing.
No, when you hear the howling, they're well fed. When you don't hear them, they're hungry.
Oh my goodness. Okay. All right. Because when you start seeing a lot of missing animals at the mailbox, they're back. So I've had 2 dogs attacked where they've climbed the ditch, which is at a 45-degree angle, and they climb over my 8-foot fence just to attack the dogs. Both times I rescued them. So, but yeah, they're vicious.
Yeah. Jeff and Leslie made a few comments that they use the 1-500 all the time as their main lens, for their Canon, and they also have the 16 millimeter lens, and they say it punches way above its weight class. And so this was your last image, but thanks for sending these in, and I'm liking what you're kicking out here, buddy.
Oh yeah, I always wanted to try something new, but I've learned from this show and from you guys. It's the same. There's more to video.
So who's coming next?
Yes, very, very good. Thank you so much. And the next group of people, images coming up. Terry, you're gonna be up next here. Well, actually, David Stewart's next, and then Terry, and then Michael Drees. So we will, David, I'll bring yours up here for you to discuss. So we'll start off with your contribution to the Bird Photography Club.
Yeah, this is with my 500 PF. It is. This is the spot that I go to shoot the astrophotography, or close to here. But and this guy hung around for a while, and then I sat down at a picnic table and I turned my back and it took off. But so. But I'm back to using Nikon, but it's nice to see Randall using some of the other brands, because and this is one of the first Nikon shots that wasn't with the 180 to 600.
Well, I'll tell you, I enjoyed my 500 PF for a long, long time. It's a great lens.
Yeah.
Not as good as 600.
Well,
Why did I expect you to say that?
Yeah.
No. It's the 500 is wonderful for sure.
But no, I think you and I both have literally thousands of shots we've taken with that lens, Gustavo.
Yeah,
I don't quite have thousands with this one here, but hopefully I can be able to use this for astrophotography. So, but we'll see.
Now here's your next one.
And this one is almost in the same place. And this is a vulture. And he was there. It was just finished raining. So I guess he was drying his wings, just like a
Nice
cormorant.
ball.
Yeah.
Hey, as long as he didn't show up immediately as you showed up, then otherwise, then you got to worry.
Yeah.
but the guy had to migrate all the way there to Canada, correct? So
Yeah. And he was there for a while, and he took off, and he came back and landed almost in the same place. And then I didn't see it again. And the only times that I've ever seen it was in this place. So, I think it was almost always on the same branch.
So I don't know if Bob's still watching, but he would enjoy your next shot if he's still at home and didn't go to bed yet, because he loves trains.
yes, nice.
Yeah, if was having fun with this, is playing with all different shutter speeds and whatever, and this is one of the ones that I had with a faster shutter speed, but I had some really slow ones, and it's amazing what the image stabilization will do when you get down to around 1/10 of a second shooting a moving object like this coming towards you.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, like you can see, it looks like there's a little steam, a little bit of the steam from the bottom right. You can see some steam.
yeah, it's coming into the station, and it's
Just noticed.
it's
Yeah.
going to stop there.
I thought it was a demo.
Yeah, but this is a real steam engine, except it's not burning coal; it's burning oil.
Mm.
But it and I think they go through 1,600 gallons of water a day with this thing.
Wow.
It's an ungodly amount, anyway.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I like this a lot. Then we move on to your the shot that has a story here.
Yeah, I think Gustavo would probably be able to tell you what kind of mineral this is, but this is
Natural sculpture.
yeah, and it looks like a hat.
Looks like a hat. Yeah.
And it's been there for a long time on this pinnacle, and I'm waiting to one of these days to see it on the ground. It's when you stand beside it, it's up above your head. So it's probably about a meter across.
That happened when you are hanging with those paleontologists there. Then you start seeing things in there.
Well, the funny thing about those guys
Yeah.
is they had to dig. They actually had 2 digs a couple 100 meters away, and they did not know of this thing.
Oh my God.
Yeah, like they just go out to the dig and whatever, and then when the day is over, they go back. They don't do any exploring or whatever. But this year, they weren't admitting to finding anything, which I can't say. It cost me a case of beer to find that out. and it didn't bother me at all. But Gustavo knows how this exploration works. Is you don't give away any secrets,
That's right.
and it's not a secret.
Yeah. Well, particularly with the prices that nowadays any kind of fossil is getting, it's a
Yeah,
bit unfair for, particularly if these people are not professional hunters, but just
yeah,
academics, correct? So they have to
yeah.
be very careful.
They had a permit for removal that was good until September sometime.
All right.
Yeah, and you can't remove anything in Alberta without a permit. Doesn't matter what it is.
Gustavo, I'll have you try to remove the. Okay, you got rid of it. Robert's comment there. Okay.
Yes.
Um, so David's got, let's see, a couple
I
more
got two
images
more.
here. Two more.
And then there's the last show.
Mm.
During our discussion, I had to take a 5-minute break, and Terry commented that it wasn't gone for 5 minutes. But these are the two shots that I left the live stream to go take.
Very good.
Is this one and the next one?
You could have make it panel, or does they don't touch?
They do, but I shot them at different focal lengths, and
Okay.
and and with the live stream on the panel, you wouldn't
Yeah.
see that
It would
much,
be very thick.
Yeah.
And like when I shoot landscapes here, is the other one was at 54 millimeters. This was at 74, and only in the mountains that I'll go shorter. Like I get down to 24 or 35 or something like that. But usually on the prairies, it's this length or longer for your landscapes
Beautiful.
because everything is just so far away.
Yeah.
Like the horizon there, it's at least 5 kilometers away.
A mile, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, David, we thank you for your contributions for this month.
Very good.
Good job, as
Yeah,
always.
but it's okay.
And then-
I'll remember that comment, Terry.
Yeah,
I didn't
see,
mean you.
Terry's up next, so you can razz him a little bit. See, if he insulted me, I would politely razz him back.
Boo.
So here's his first image, and I'll let Terry.
Oh, nice.
Terry, you have your notes in front of you about all these images, or do you let me know if you need
Well,
me
I
to
don't have the
rattle off?
notice. I don't have the details, but the reason of sending these 3 images, one beside the other, is they are from my first visit in New Zealand, and these 3 images will be between an hour and 15 minutes or so. And the weather and everything was changing so much. And all of them have been sold with the same camera, the same lens, and around 15, 20 minutes from each other, if I remember well.
Yeah, you said within an hour and 15 minutes, you got these
Yeah.
shots in July of 2015.
Wow.
And this
All of
is
them
shot
with
number
long
one.
exposure.
This is shot number one, which was at
The place called
748 f18, 13 seconds, ISO 100 with the Canon EF 24-70 at 35 millimeters. So these are
Yeah, all
3
of them.
successive images that you're going to see, and as Terry says, you're going to see such a change in the dynamics and the lighting of the images. So we'll go to the second one here.
All right.
And this was at 8:58. the second
sure,
shot.
40,
So,
40, 45 minutes different. Yeah.
yeah, so quite a difference in the coloration.
Yeah, that was the magic. Uh, the light was changing. I can't explain it how fast it was changing, and I couldn't believe it. I was watching it. And I was, what's going on? Yeah,
You probably thought your camera was messing up.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, you
It's
can
a
see it with your
best.
own eyes, though. So the best camera.
This old pier there is on Saint Clair in Dunedin, if I pronounce it properly. There is, yeah, not much else around there, but I have a couple of these piers photographs. I like them.
And this is image number 3.
Yeah, that was about 10 minutes,
Yeah,
15 minutes.
yeah.
20
Your
minutes
last one was
later. Yeah.
8:58, and this one's 9:08. Yep.
Yeah.
But that's important, Terry. You know, you catch, if something catch your eye, you stay with the subject, correct, and try different things as the light
Yeah,
changes. So correct. I mean,
absolutely. Yeah.
and horizontal and vertical and more the sea, faster shutter speed, lower shutter
Yeah.
speed.
I go down. I have a shot from just front of the. I mean, on the left side, as you see now, uh, have the pier just front of me, looking toward the sea. You can go around and make a lot of compositions.
Beautiful. Well, I see.
Yeah. Terry, as much as I hate to admit it, it's a pretty good set of photographs.
I told you, yeah. You can't hate me. You love me.
I wouldn't go that far.
Yeah,
But
well,
anyway, it just goes to show you how lighting can change. And
it
I've
is.
been out different times in Scotland, and they'd be out for an hour and a half or whatever, shooting the same thing, and the light was only good for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
In that hour.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
You blink, you lose it. That's it.
Oh yeah.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Now here's his the Regent Honey Eater.
Mm.
Whose is this?
This
Oh,
is
it's
Terry's as
Terry.
well.
It is.
Yep.
There's
Yep.
no water.
Yeah. No.
Beautiful. That's also from New Zealand, Terry.
No. This is Melbourne. This
Ah,
is Melbourne, north of Melbourne,
beautiful. Love it.
Hillsville.
Hillsville, Victoria.
Yeah.
And then he finishes up the set with this very interesting little
That's
photo.
for Roy.
This is for Roy.
Wow, that's
Ringtail possum.
beautiful.
See, your possums at least look cool. Ours look like something you want to
Ugly.
just run away from. I mean, they're mangly looking. They have no personality. Yours look interesting anyway. So
Beautiful. But Terry, that's different species of the possum that Roy
It-
Cho, or is the same?
I think was the same. I'm not absolutely sure, but we have 2 or 3 different models of the same brand. This is the ringtail, as you can see why.
Yeah.
And they have some little bit different. I've noticed 2. I haven't seen any other one, but I know there is more than 2 species around.
now I find that the tree interesting that it's on as well.
Yeah, it is a
mean, no
common
bark.
tree here. Is the elm. How call it? Sorry, I forget the name.
Gum tree or
It's a gum tree. Yeah.
So that's normal. Like it doesn't really have any bark on it, or it's just
That's normal. That's how
that's
it is.
normal. Okay,
Yeah, that's how it is. Yeah.
that's cool. I like that.
beautiful.
We have 200 something different species of gum tree.
Wow.
Yep.
That's neat.
They're all in the eucalyptus family.
Yeah.
So that was Terry's last image. So once again, another great set of images from
Thank you.
as always.
Fantastic.
Even Stuart liked them.
Yeah, I mean that make you got to make a note of that. Write that down.
That's good.
I was watching his images from the aurora yesterday. I tried to catch up my jaws from the floor. Yeah, he's very, very sweet and quiet here. I don't know if you have seen his images. They're from a different world. Doesn't matter what he says.
Yeah.
Well, whenever we say David's out of this world, then we got to say no, he's just in Canada.
Yeah, well, the same thing anyway.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to get into the night sky because Terry's pictures are going to be totally different than mine. Because we see different things.
Yeah, we don't have the same vistas. Yeah.
So, and like it's getting into the aurora season now. Only it's not clear at night, but I think it's. But when I make it back out camping, I won't be sleeping at night at all. If it's a clear night, it'll be shooting something, and if it's not clear, well, I guess I get to sleep.
Now the next images we have coming up, we got Michael Dries, and then we have Martin, and then after Martin we have Gustavo's images. So we have quite the grouping here. And now Michael, before I bring up his first image, I'll preface the image review here with just stating that he commented he just returned from an incredible visit to Newfoundland and photographing Atlantic puffins, northern gannets, and other seabirds. So these are images from that trip. And I asked them to consider, coming on the show and doing a little presentation, on the third week of the month down the road. And I hope I can coerce them into doing it to talk about that trip he went on and share some more of his images. But this is his first image, and I love puffins. I love puffins. I've never seen one in the wild. I think if the closest place to me to see them would probably be to go to Maine, in the New England coastline, and you could see puffins in Maine. But that would be the closest trip for me. But what a wonderful experience he had on this trip, and wonderful shot here. This was using the Z8, Nikon Z8 with the 600p f6.3 at 1/3200th of a second, ISO 1000. He says he would he had never seen any of these species that you're going to see here in these few shots that he sent in. He had never seen any of these species before prior to this trip. He said he would highly recommend a visit for wildlife, landscapes, and travel images. He says, what an amazing place. So his
beautiful shot.
Second shot here is more of an environmental shot, a little bit, and showing the environment.
Lovely.
And beautiful pose, beautiful. I mean, everything's great here. I mean, lighting's good.
How much you pay the bird to stay there?
I don't know. I mean, unless he bought one of the ones with that you get in a gift shop that you just stick them in the ground. I don't know.
Well, his focal length was 23.5 millimeters, so he wasn't far away.
No, he wasn't far away. Wonderful shot.
It is, yeah.
And he said that they had several birds approached within a couple feet of them. He He says they're so curious and friendly. He says I never thought I would photograph a bird with a 23 millimeter focal length. Yeah. Now this next shot is of a
Oh,
northern gannet
mother.
landing, and he said the wingspan of these birds is impressive. He says there were so many birds flying around the colony that it was a challenge at times to isolate an individual bird. He says he almost clipped the wings off on this one, taking the picture. But very nice shot.
These are my birds.
Wow, beautiful.
Yeah.
It is.
You see, Jeff, I'm now getting more excited that Michael is going to give us a presentation.
Yeah, I'm hoping that I don't know if he's showed in the chat yet or not, but
Not yet.
I hope that he watches this tomorrow if he's not going to pop in and does us a big favor and just do a 10-minute thing if you got time, man. Just throw some slides together, some shots together, and a little story, and everybody'd get a kick out of it because you're the first person I know that has gone there. I've never had anybody else tell me that they've been to that location. So this is his last shot that he sent in that I'm going to bring up now, and he says this was. He used a variable neutral density filter on this shot, and with the Z8 with the 1:400 at 145 millimeters, f5.6 at 3 seconds, ISO 1250. Obviously, the 3 seconds allowed him to soften up the crashing waves on the rocks, yet still maintained decent focus on the birds. And he says he had to get very close to the edge of the cliff, which was a little dicey, given his fear of heights. Yeah, I have that same fear, Michael. He says it was worth it for the result, though. 3 second exposure really shows the motion of the waves. And as I just mentioned, and many of the birds are still reasonably sharp.
Yes.
So wonderful set of images that you sent in,
Beautiful.
Michael.
Beautiful. Which is the place, Jeff?
Newfoundland.
Newfoundland.
Did he say whereabouts in Newfoundland?
Let's see.
That's Canada territory.
No.
Yeah.
No, he didn't say specifically what part of Newfoundland.
Beautiful. Fantastic.
But hopefully you'll do a pitch for us.
This is your kind of photo, Terry.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about it.
Now, the next images, and I love when I get this stuff from Martin. Obviously, where he lives is a place that not many of us get an opportunity to go to. And the last photo review, he shared some images near his hometown, and he's doing this again in the next shot that I'll bring up here. And then he gave me a bit of verbiage here to talk about. He says this is starting off with his hometown again. This picture shows the Biebrich Palace, and it's part of Wiesbaden, where the palace is located. It's actually also part of the city where he lives. He says, however, the palace is quite a distance away down by the Rhine River. And he says the building was constructed in 1734. So as most buildings in his town, he says it is not all that old. Well, compared to what's in the United States, it's very old. He says it was used as residence of the rulers back then. Nowadays, it's used by the state as the government office for monument preservation. He says if you're really well off, you can rent parts of the building for weddings and such. Usually on sunny days, there are lots of people in the park playing ball or picnicking or just having walks. He says I mainly go there to photograph the little tawny owls or kingfishers and sometimes the parakeets. The park has become home to quite a lot of wildlife. Besides birds, he's seen rabbits and even foxes there, which to him is surprising considering it is pretty much in the city. It's one of his favorite places in his hometown, and he regularly visits that location. He says when he took this particular photograph, there were thunderstorms brewing, and it started to rain 15 minutes after he took this shot. He got pretty wet and had to walk home for about an hour. He says, well, all for you. Got soaked for the show, folks. This is with the Z6 II with the Nikkor 24-70 f4 S ISO 720, 1/125th of a second at 37 millimeter focal length f11.
Beautiful.
So that's his first image. Now his second shot is from a recent trip to the Austrian Alps. It shows a natural intergeneric orchid hybrid. Intergeneric hybrid should normally be considered impossible, but orchids are a very young plant family, and the species are still flexible enough to produce hybrids from different genres.
Very nice.
He considers it a rare find, even though they found hundreds of them that day. He says this one is a hybrid between the black vanilla orchid, which is one of his favorites, and the short spurred fragrant orchid. He says the scent of these flowers is really pleasant. It has hints of dianthus and vanilla and chocolate. He says he loves it. He says what's more is a buddy of his showed him this plant at a place he did not know, and he was not aware of this specific hybrid before. The place is called Knockburge Mountains, and it reminded him very much of Scotland. He says, I had no idea such a place existed in the Alps. He was blown away. This is also with the Z6 II using the 105 S lens, ISO 160, 1/1600th of a second at f3.
Beautiful.
Very nice.
Now his third image.
Dreamy, very nice.
He says this may be his favorite orchid photo in a long time. It shows the narrow-lipped. I'm going to pronounce it wrong, I'm sure. I'll apologize ahead of time. Heliboring. This specimen is exceptionally small for the species, and I felt lucky to find it. They grow in beech forests on limestone soils. I found it about 30 miles from my place. It's quite the drive for an orchid photo, but the area is quite beautiful. He says he loves beech forests. Once again, the Z6 II with the 105 lens, ISO 180, 1/15th of a second. You must not have any wind there at all, Martin, to be able to get this that sharp at 1/15th of a second at f3.2.
Talk about bokeh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Beautiful.
Now his last shot.
Frame. Very nice frame.
Let's see if this is his last shot. The last shot I really wasn't sure what it was till I read his narrative. And then I'm like, I could have hit myself in the head and said I could have had a V8 because I used to love chasing these things around when I was a kid living in New England at certain times of the year at night. This is an image of
Fireflies, isn't it?
Fireflies, yeah. Those are all those little streaks are fireflies flying around. He says this is more of an emotional highlight than a good photo. He says on a late night walk close to his place, he noticed the fireflies, called his mom because I know she likes that kind of stuff, and asked if she wanted to see fireflies. Of course, she wanted to see them, so he picked her up and they drove there. He says she was so happy to see fireflies, and it sparked good childhood memories for her, it seems. Because I guess sometimes it is not all about making a good photograph. He's so glad that he took her there. Yeah, it's just things that you remember. I remember, we would try to catch them in a glass jar. We'd let them go, of course, but we'd put them in a glass jar just so we could see them light up inside the glass jar, and then we would take the lid off and let them go. It was something that we did a lot when I was a kid. He said it was a pretty good display of the insects for Germany, that is. He says it was all worth it, even though he got a proper treatment from the mosquitoes. He says, "Don't ask." Because next year I would like to try again for a better photo. Once again, the Z6 II with the Nikkor 50 millimeter f1.8 ISO 6400 f1.8 15-second shot. So those are all the images from Martin. Thank you, Martin, very much as always for sending those in to us.
Beautiful.
We appreciate it.
Thank you, Martin.
Yeah.
We definitely
Very
always
nice.
appreciate your contributions that you take to a different place and show us beautiful images of unusual things. And please keep going.
No, and he loves, he loves the area that he lives in, and he loves the community, and gets wonderful shots of what he doesn't consider old buildings from the 1700s. I mean, that seems pretty old to me, but what do I know? I'm an American, right? But the next images are going to be from our co-host in crime, Mr. Gustavo, and followed by some images from Jeff Sluter. And after Jeff, we got some images that Luis sent in for us to enjoy. So I am going to skip over to Gustavo's first shot here and let him do the narration.
All right.
Mm.
So this one actually I put it there also for Jim because he find out that in one of his feeders he was getting some audios and here during the summer we get this audio called Bullock's audio and they do come and take some nectar from the hummingbird feeders, although it's a lot larger animal. Okay? So I enjoy seeing the Orioles. So I'm always in lookout of photographing hummingbird if these guys will show up. Right? So this was taken here with I think this is with the 600 PF. Right? So opportunity to capture. Some areas are blurred because I'm photographing under the canopy of the ponderosa tree, so you can see that it's like trying to sneak between the branches to get a photo. But I love these Orioles; they are fantastic.
Well, I think too. It's more important. Like you got the leg there, and the claws are nice and sharp, and the majority of the body. And I think that's
Beautiful
exactly
bird.
what you would want to do.
Exactly. To show some variety, right, from the other stuff.
Yeah. So
So
we'll bring up your next shot.
so
Oh,
so so this one actually was again another window of opportunity. That was during my stakeout on the northern flickers. Okay, that one of the morning I raise my eyes and look at the tree, and then I find this juvenile uh, Cooper hawk, right? And you will see in his talent, he caught something. I presume, I believe he caught one of the American robins, okay? And you get surprised that suddenly you see that bird, and that was pretty close. So
They're
so
beautiful birds too. I love those birds.
and of course I only have a long telephoto, so locally it was close, but just at the range where I could focus. Okay, so and you can imagine I had to move so slow motion because I don't want to spook him away. Correct.
hmm.
Yeah.
So I managed to get a photo again, taking under the canopy of the tree. These guys eventually flew off, and then I moved to the telephone to the other camera and managed to get some couple of photos. But this is I've taken full frame on the. I think this was on the C8 vertical photo. Didn't have the opportunity to. It was almost like what is the minimum focus distance for the 600 PF. I think it was like 4.1 meters or something like that. But a window
Yeah.
of opportunity again here.
Before we go to your next image, I just want to make a comment on something that Roy mentioned in the chat here, which I think is really important. He made a comment, we focus too much on getting the technique
Absolutely.
right. We must not forget catching the moment.
Yep.
And catching the moment, I think the longer you take photos, you're your own worst critic, and you get too critical of your own work, and sometimes the more interesting photo isn't necessarily the one that is the most technically correct image that you may have wanted to take, and it's important to remember that.
He made that comment when we were showing Martin's Firefly.
Fireflies, yeah.
So that I agree 100% with you, Roy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
what?
that's a really good comment, Roy.
Yeah.
So one interesting thing before we move to the next one here is these guys are bird uh, catching specialists, correct? Sometimes you get the hawks and red tails in here in the west, um, but these guys they hunt small birds, right? And particularly birds like robins that get into the ground. Now, anybody that has a feeder know that these guys are the menace. When these guys show up, then you will not see it. All the birds fear these guys so much, right? When they show up, the Cooper hawk, and in this case, yes, Robert, it's a juvenile. That's why it doesn't have the typical colors. But when they show up, the other birds will disappear for about 2 hours, right? Until these guys clear the area, nobody will be showing up because they are really, really. I mean, you have seen them, correct? Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
They are. They have like owls. They also have some special um, uh, feathers in the wind. They make no noise, and they are sneaky. They are incredible hunters. So anyway, that's a yeah. So that's a little bit of natural history for this guy. But I was surprised because I see them sometimes only when they fly around and when they catch something. But did you happen to catch something and land just 5 meters, 4 meters away from where I was standing?
Well, Jeff and Leslie make a comment at their feeders. He says, we feed the mourning doves and the doves feed the Cooper hawks. Well, it's just like we had in my backyard, or in a couple houses down from me. One day I was, not amazing photographs by any means, but it was like a red-shouldered hawk that was flying on. Not everybody in the neighborhood has a fenced-in yard. So it was like flying from one person's fence, and then may go a couple houses down to the next yard that had a fence, and it was just like basically eyeballing this was when the young birds had just hatched recently, and were maybe learning how to fly, and obviously the hawk was just like, it was just waiting to just see some young one that maybe falls to the ground or whatever, gets stunned for a millisecond, and that's it, it's lunch. You knew what it was trying to do. And here's Gustavo's next shot.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So here, Randall, as you know, we don't have the white-tailed deer, correct? But we do have the mule deer, and indeed, this is fawn season. So I always watching for the mother to come and bring some of the fawn to my yard. So this is in the unkept area of my yard, and in this case, I managed to take a photo, uh, which was rather tricky because it was in the uh, s- where the light is filtering through the tree, so you never know whether you're going to get a spotlight on the head or in the rump, or but I always looking to take this picture, part of the year in wildlife around here, correct? Waiting for who is going to watch and find uh, the first fawn. Right?
Hmm.
They lose all the spot here by the last week of August. and then they become
Oh.
like the adults but smaller. Okay, so this one was probably already a month old when I managed to catch this photo.
I gotta refresh my screen here on my laptop for whatever reason.
Okay,
So give me a second.
yeah. Obviously, you what Jeff is working here when they first get born, and this is when I actually like to sometimes I find them. Correct, the mother will uh, give birth in a secluded area, and then they will stand still. So sometimes you go and work in your yard, and then you almost step into them. But that period of time only lasts for about a week or less. Okay, after that they become very skittish. Okay, so anyway, these guys was already very uh, not so keen to be photographed at this stage, and of course
Now,
most of the mule deer give birth to a twin. So once you find one, you likely to find another one. My yard is has some fencing, so I noticed that some of the mothers will come, even give birth in my yard or bring them in, and then they get inside the yard, so it's like a nursery for a little while. And this guy can be quite noisy when they get separated from the mother, which make them vulnerable to coyotes and foxes. So anyway, so I make time, Jeff.
okay, yeah, I'm all good on the laptop again. On your last image is kind of like a prelude to something you're going to be talking about a little bit later.
Exactly, and you
Uh,
know, like the uh, hummingbird season is here for me. So I moved from the flickers and the and the western bluebirds into the hummingbirds, and this is one of the residents that breed in my area, the broad tail, again taken under the canopy of a ponderosa pine, and this is a female, uh, particularly in this type of the year when they're rearing young ones, which this year I didn't find any nest. They are there, but it was not easy uh, to see. They do catch a lot of small mosquitoes, and I don't know if you can, if you
Yeah,
point to that, you see the
yeah, right
little,
here.
exactly. So you can see
There's what he's going for. Or she's going for right there.
exactly. So this is a catching mosquito with a tweezer. So but I did like the fact also that the out of focus area is one of the crowns from one of the branches of the ponderosa. So as you know, you take hundreds of photos and then one you catch the unexpected. I believe me, I did not expect to see. I was not watch. I was watching the bird. I was not. wa- Didn't see the little fly. Right? But you catch the unexpected and then you get a decent light and correct. Uh, you get a good image. So that's it. So what we will talk about that later, but in the topics that I have, because uh, uh, coming up, I may do a part two of my hummingbird photography. So we have that in the pipeline too. That's
great images as always, Gustavo.
Yep, very good.
Beautiful.
Very good selection.
thank you guys.
Very nice. Coming up next, we got Mr. Sluter, and obviously Scubarazzi's in the house. I know, Paul. I know it's very early for you to be up. We appreciate you stopping in when you get the chance. We really do. I know it's difficult for you.
So a question for Kuarazi or Paul. We saw somebody joining as a scuba rescue, and then we saw you joining after that. Is that you too, or somebody you? Let us know.
Yeah. So the next image is from Mr. Sluter with Jeff, And now I think I saw one of these, but not this coloration. I had to go look up and see if these exist down here in South Carolina, and they do. This is a hummingbird moth, a clear wing hummingbird moth. Um, the shots that you're going to see from Jeff here are all from July of this year.
Yeah.
Shot with the Canon R7. This is with the 100 to 500 lens, the RF 100 to 500 lens, which also Randall took some of his shots with. And he says he's always been intrigued with mimics in nature, those creatures who look like something else that's either dangerous or does not have many predators. In this case, the moth, which would be a juicy treat for a bird feeding its family, looks, feeds, and flies like a hummingbird. He says, what self-respecting predator would waste energy on a hummingbird? Yeah, that you couldn't word it much better than that. If they think this is a hummingbird, they don't even bother trying. They just figure it's too fast.
It was Luis that showed some photos of this, Jeff.
Okay.
Remember, I think the species that he photographed in either southern Spain or Portugal. But no, I love these mimics. I agree 100% with Jeff.
Yeah, I mean, when I looked up the one for South Carolina, it was like a very dreary color. It was like almost like a brown and black. It didn't really have any nice colors to it. It was pretty dreary looking. It didn't look as nice as this one. Jeff always finds the nicer looking ones where he lives. And his next shot is of the Halloween dragonfly. We get those down here.
Yes.
Halloween dragonflies. Very nice, smooth bokeh. Color background's nice. Nice job. What's nice too is we always learn something, or at least I always learn something from any of these photos people take, because he sent this one in. And he says this is an annual cicada, not one of the ones like in New England. We only had the ones that were every 17 years they come out of the ground. He says this is an annual one, comes out every year. He says if you're around the Midwest, maybe other regions too of the USA, on a hot summer day, you can hear them humming in the trees. I remember that 17-year, event in Connecticut when I was young, and God, it was awful. These things were so noisy and ugly looking and big and fat. It was like, I'm glad it was only every 17 years, but I feel bad for Jeff that he sees them every year. Once every 17 is enough for me.
In Greece, we have them every year, and when we were young, we were trying to catch their shells after they change, and you can see them transparent, sticking on the trees.
Yes.
Yeah, the external.
So my cicadas don't look as good as this one. And I think their timing is off. It used to be like every 17 years down in Texas. But with this weather, I think some come up like after 10 or 12 years, some come up like 15. So they're not all together anymore. It's either that or the animals are eating them. The birds are eating them left and right. I've seen 3 of these skeletons, hung on the walls of my house, and they're just the shells. So, but that's just 3 of them. I used to have hundreds, but not anymore. I haven't seen them, like last 5 years, except for this year, which I've only seen 3. I hear them, but they're not as loud as they were when we were growing up. So I think there's a lot less, and I don't know. I guess with the hot temperatures, don't they usually come out in the fall time? Or is it in the summertime that they come out?
Summertime, all day.
Summertime. Okay.
Yeah. So Jeff's next image here is Yes, he says these. He says those eyes, blue dasher dragonfly, trying to determine if Jeff's an enemy or food. The exposure on this, he said, was kind of tricky because the background was very dark. It was a dark tree trunk, while the morning sunshine was directly on the dragonfly. So he exposed for the dragonfly, basically just allowing the background to go completely black, which works out fine. He says he shot several images to get the one he liked. He says, fortunately, dragons tend to come back to the same perch, so it's more a matter of sitting down, getting comfortable, and waiting for it to return. And he says, comfortable is a matter of opinion. The outside temperature this day was about 92 degrees Fahrenheit, with dew points around 80 degrees, with the only shade in sight being the dark area in the background of this picture. However, as a nature photographer, he says, you have to play, as we know, you have to play with the hand you're dealt.
I'm so jealous.
And
I
his,
never had a chance to grab one of these. Every time there is just for a second. When I see somewhere, zoom, it's gone.
now his last shot, he has a nice narrative too, and you're going to have to look at this closely. And I'm not going to tell you what's there. You got to look closely.
That's a small.
He says this is part of an ongoing series that Leslie and Jeff are calling Tiny Treasures. He was photographing these gray-headed cone flowers when he looked through the viewfinder to double check his exposure settings and composition, and noticed a tiny treasure among the flowers. A tiny inchworm was in there. He says, we both get excited. He says, yes, we are easily amused. Excuse me. When we see some unexpected tiny creature hiding in our photos, thus tiny treasures. Over the years, he's photographed almost every animal in the region, Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana, including bobcats, river otters, mink, deer, elk, black bear, raptors of every shape and size, eagles, vultures, hawks, falcons, and many more. But what excites him the most is finding an unexpected tiny jumping spider or inchworm or a raccoon peering out of a hole in a tree. Whatever it is, but those tiny creatures that are totally unexpected. Because these things are what keeps the interest in nature photography alive. He says when he started photography back in the 80s, he says, I was a trophy hunter. But when we get the trophy shot, you've captured the trophy shot. Things get boring after that. However, photographing those things we love, finding the tiny treasures and getting excited about them never gets old. Tiny treasures for Leslie and him are things like this inchworm. Tiny treasures could be a cute kid in a wedding photo, something totally unexpected from the model, something in an auto race, anything unexpected. So his question is to those that are in the chat and those on the panel, you can think about this or blurt out an answer. He wants to know, what are your tiny treasures? And that's the last image from Jeff, and we thank you.
Well said.
Very nice.
For your images.
Well said. Yeah. By the way, Jeff and Leslie, Wildlife Nature Photography, this year here in Colorado, and actually the concert, extremely low amount of bumblebees and bees in general, and insects. Even the moth, the military moth, which is a pest, because very few. So certainly not a good year for macro photography, not a good year for nature in general, because that's they are at the base of the food chain. But I don't know what's going on. Never have seen that here before.
It's the insecticides that some of the farmers are using is starting to catch up.
Yeah.
So,
wow, incredible, David.
Yeah, and the farmers are starting to have problems because they're killing off so many of the bees.
All the pollinators.
And for the pollinators. And last year they couldn't get in tame bees because of a problem in California. And I don't know what happened this year. If they're able to get in tame bees or not. But it's lack of pollinators is getting to be a major problem.
Yes. No, I tell you, it's it never. I mean, Jeff will tell you, correct? Somebody like Jeff, both Jeff, correct? Most of the people here, correct? You go out all the time, you notice when there is changes, correct? You know when something is not correct, when something is afoot, correct? And this year here have been very unusual for the insects in particular.
But
Anyway,
great set of images once again, guys. And our next set is from Luis. So I'll bring up his first shot here.
so we have Luis. Tell me
Yay.
Luis.
Luis,
Who else?
we got Luis, and then after Luis, we got Bob Rosato,
Okay.
and then we have after Bob, we have Scubarazzi.
All right. Thank you.
So let me get back to the slide here. So Luis says this is a brown crowned scimitar babbler taken in the extreme northwest of Thailand, right at the border with Myanmar. This is with the Z9,
Wow.
with the 600 PF f7.1, 120 500th of a second, ISO 720, minus 0.7 EV.
Wow.
Very nice.
Cute bird. I like it. It's nice when they have a brightly colored feature on them, the beaks or whatever.
Yes.
Now, the second image he sent in to us
Oh,
is a yellow-bellied
Feet.
prinia along some rice fields in the northwest of Thailand as well. Very similar settings as the last picture, although this was taken, he says, added on a different day.
wow. Beautiful capture.
Nice. So nicely separated.
Exactly.
Gorgeous.
Now his third image here is, this is interesting. A Malayan porcupine taken in central Thailand at night. He says no flash. The light is from a flashlight being held by one of the people in the group.
Wow. He really does. Luis has mastered that technique so well.
This is with the Z8, with the 200 to 500 zoom at 250 millimeters, f6.3, 1/80th of a second, ISO 7200.
Yes.
And then his last image that he sent in is of
Oh, hello.
a western whip snake in the island of Sardine, Italy.
Yes.
Hope I pronounced that right.
Sardinia.
Sardinia,
Yes.
Yeah.
Italy. He says he was really close to this snake. He says it's not a dangerous one. So we had a few little email back and forth, and I said, well, I think my comment to him was something to the effect like, if you were someone like me going somewhere that I've never been before, not that I wouldn't take a picture of a snake if I saw it, but not having the knowledge that he does with the amount of travel he does, where he probably knows most of these snakes and which ones are dangerous and which ones are not. I would always take the approach that they're all dangerous, because I wouldn't know, right? So better to be safe than sorry.
Yep.
And be very, very cautious when you're taking pictures with snakes, unless you really, really do know the species and you know that it's not going to hurt you. This is with the Z. He took this one with the Z52.
Yeah. So he had a zoom lens, so you don't have
with
to
the
get that close.
50 to 200, 50 to 250 zoom at 170 millimeters.
Yeah.
F13, he really stopped it down. F13, 1/200th of a second. ISO 250. So that was his the last image in his set. So Luis, as always, thank you so much.
Yes.
That was excellent.
Thank you. Yeah.
I don't believe he's in the chat yet,
No.
No, not yet.
but We thank you for your effort as always. Now, the next set of images are from a former coworker, Bob Rosato, lives in Connecticut, and he did something that we should probably all do. We probably don't get the chance to do it. We're always focusing on what we're going to get tomorrow rather than what we got in days of yesteryear. So he says this month's series of shots you're going to see are from his archives. So this first shot is Paris Liberation Day parade. He says, since this year marks the 80th anniversary of the end of World War II, he figured he'd share a couple of pictures that his dad took during the Liberation Day parade in Paris on August 26th of 1944. He was born in Italy, and his dad was born in Italy and worked as an electrician during World War II in France and in Germany. In his first image here, the tall guy in the middle of the parade with the hat
The goal.
is the General Charles de Gaulle.
The goal.
Wow.
And so that's
What
this
a
guy
beautiful
here.
photo.
Here's the guy with the hat, if you didn't pick up on him. Now, the next image that his dad took is showing the U.S. Army film crew. You can see them here in the foreground with their cameras. And up here.
Wow.
Now, before I show the next slide, the next image, I'll start with the story here.
First, what a treasure, Bob. What a treasure that you have those images. Because I mean these are historical photos, correct? And the fact that it was your dad that took the pictures, that fantastic. The next question is, did you have any incline of what kind of camera did he use? That will be of interest to people like Jeff. Let us know.
Yeah. So before I show his next image, I'm just going to rattle off his narration a little bit, or at least start it. He calls this one Dolomites. He says a couple of days ago, he decided to go through some boxes of slides that he hasn't looked at in probably 40 years and found a bunch that he had taken when he went on a family vacation in the summer of 1977 to Italy, Germany, and France. He says when we lived in Italy, when he was a wee lad, we always used to go to the Dolomites in the Italian Alps. Says he doesn't remember much from that time frame, but he thoroughly enjoyed it when we went in 1977 when he was 16 years old. So he says, I don't have a scanner, so he copied them with the Nikon D850 and the 60 millimeter f2.8 AFS micro lens and the ES2 film digitizing adapter. He had bought that a few years back, but never tried it until now. So these were all taken with his Nikon F2, which he still has, and various lenses, he says, that he doesn't recall at this moment. And he says, yes, I bought a Nikon F2 when I was 14 or 15. He says, my father had one and I coveted it, so I saved all my paper route money to pay for it. He says, I would just borrow whatever lenses my dad had. He says, all these are shot on Ektachrome 100, he thinks. It may have been 200 based on the grain. He says, Nikon F2 lens and settings are unknown. So this image is called House on a Rock. They used to go to a village called Araba. While we were driving around the area, he noticed this little house that was built on top of a rock on the side of the road. He says, looked like a house on a pedestal.
Yeah.
This is at 1/15 of a second at f5.6 ISO 100, 60 millimeters, f2.8.
Beautiful.
It's an interesting chimney on that roof.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now the next image is, I'm not going to pronounce, I'm not Italian, man. Lago di Misurina.
Yeah.
his arena. Small lake in the Dolomites that has incredibly crystal clear water. So this is his dad and his sister in this picture.
What year was that? Did he mention?
He didn't say what year this particular picture was.
But it probably part of the same trip.
Yeah, the prior one was in 1977, so it might have been the same time frame, I would imagine.
Beautiful water, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now his next image is
Oh my God.
Piz Bow. The shot was taken on Mount Marmolada, elevation 10,968 feet, or 3,343 meters, looking out towards Pisbo in the background. It says Pisbo was the nearby mountain to Araba where we stayed. Just keep in mind that this is during the middle of July, and the skiers would lay back to soak in the sun after a few runs. Most of them made their own chase lounge using their skis and their ski poles.
Although, let me tell you a secret here. He was probably photographing the girls in the bikini.
Shh, don't say that.
I kind of noticed that too, Gustavo.
Exactly.
You can almost see his face turning red right now, even though we can't see
Yeah, I was looking up to the mountain, so
it.
He's pretending to be a landscape photographer. But I know
he was looking at mountains.
they are part of the landscape anyway.
they're beautiful photos for sure. And Bob, certainly you make a point here that it's worthwhile looking at your own slides. Right?
Yep. And his last image that he sent here was from Sas Porto, view of the south face of Sas Porto, which was another mountain near Araba. There was a small pond off the side of the road, so they took the opportunity to take some pictures. This is his dad, his brother, and his sister in the picture.
Nothing hidden from the sun, Robert.
Yeah, Robert's the one behind the camera, obviously. My wife will be lucky if when I croak, whether she could find a picture of me anywhere in the house, because I'm always the one behind the camera. I'm never in front of the camera. But
the Dolomites are renowned. I mean, you can see people like what is it? Hudson Henry. He has an annual trip to the Dolomites. They are beautiful mountains.
Yeah.
Because they combine. I mean, you can see those peaks behind. I mean, wonderful photos. Robert, you need to go back again now with the C8 and the C9.
Yeah.
A friend of mine was last year there, but the snow was so much you couldn't see nothing.
I mean, as I wrote back to him, I says, these are the pictures you remember more than the ones that we necessarily take now is the family shots. You know, those are the ones that, I mean, that's, until you had really high-end gear and stuff, really cameras for 100 years, or 75 years anyway, were used mostly for taking pictures of people and vacations, and that's pretty much what they were for, and only when we got into the the better technology and the better lenses, and you're talking, into the late 50s, or the Nikon F1 or certain cameras like that, into the 60s and 70s, where you basically started having specialty glass and things like that to do some of the things that we do now that we really didn't do much back then.
Yeah. And the fact that he took that with his family, and that is a special, correct? Like you were saying. By the way, I guarantee you that Bob can go and photograph the same little lake in front of a little house. That's one of the beauty of Europe. Things don't change that much, right? Places like this get preserved, but fantastic photos.
Yeah, great job, Robert. I'm glad you were kind enough to share some family images and stuff like that, because that's the special stuff. It really is.
Yeah, Robert, they were great shots, you know. And,
And it got you to use your some of the equipment that you hadn't used before, so that was a bonus. The last set of images are going to be from Scuba Rozzi and myself. We're nearing the end of of our shots here. So, Scuba Rozzi, if you're here, do you want to?
yeah, he's here.
You want to join the show? He had, to make a long story short, a lot of his shots here are of the kestrels at the monastery area, and I asked him some questions about the history of the monastery because we know he is fortunate enough to get pictures of these great birds there, but we didn't really. I didn't really know anything about the history of the monastery, so he was nice enough to give me a nice long explanation of this monastery, and I, so if he wants to join us and kind of like do an introduction to the monastery, so we know more about it, he can do so. If not, I'll read off what he sent me in an email. I'll have to dig up the email, and I want to say hi to. Let's see, we do get some real Nikon lovers here. Okay, he's going to pass. He doesn't have any voice right now, so I'll show the images and then I'll find his email that he sent me and I'll read it off to you because it is very interesting. So we'll start with the first image here. So he says, as the new season of the monastery kestrels have now come to an end, this is the topic of his pictures. All 4 of the kestrels did finally leave the nest. On this first shot is the last day before the first young kestrel left the nesting box. So this is with the Z8 with the 180 to 600 zoom, 1/320th of a second, f6.3 ISO 1250 at the 600 millimeter focal length. So this is shot 1 of a series of photos. So this is the first picture he sent in. Then on this one,
that's nice.
He says on this one, there are only 2 young kestrels left in the box at this time, and one of them is doing the wing training, flapping the wings up and down, getting ready to thinking about taking off for good. And these were all taken with the Z8. This is also with the 180 to 600 as well. Then the next shot, this is the father delivering a mouse to the nesting box. He says this is only a small mouse. He says sometimes the mice are many times bigger than this one. He says this one was only a snack for the little ones. And same camera, same lens. Then this is after he's delivered it. So he's delivered it, and then he's actually ready to take off right away after he dropped it off. So he drops it off, and he's getting ready to get more food. And then let's see, this is his last shot coming up. So he says this was, he says, as the little ones are now everywhere, the food delivery happens everywhere. Here they delivered a mouse to the small one. Then he did fly away, and that's the moment on this picture. As he just dropped off the food to the young one in this tree, pine tree, and then started flying off. He says this tree was very far away, so he had to crop it quite a bit.
Who birds eat?
So let me see if I could find. Give me a second to find his email, and I'll leave this slide up while I talk about it. So so here's the story about the monastery. He says the story, as the story is told, there was a Swiss nobleman in the 13th century called Heinrich II from Rapperswil, who went to fight in the Crusades in Jerusalem. And on the way home on the Mediterranean Sea, his ship ended up in a storm. So he started to pray to the Saint Maria and did promise her that if she would save him and his crew, he would build her a monastery.
Hmm.
When he then went up the river in Switzerland, he says that did not exist at this time, he did notice a star above the place where the monastery is today. So he did take it as a sign and did buy the land. In 14 October of 1227, the first monks started to build the monastery. In 1256, they did then also build the church next to the monastery called Stella Maris, or Marias Star, based on the story of Heinrich II. In 1529, the monks then changed from being Catholics to Reformed Christianity. In 1803, the monastery was owned by our canton, which is similar to a U.S. state, and the monks had to move out. In 1843, the monastery was changed into a university for teachers, and since 1976, it's been a gymnasium. He says the monastery today still has a very nice garden. The garden is maintained by a team of gardeners, where some of them are people with special needs, allows them to, they could do that type of work and they enjoy it and they have a job. During the pandemic in 2020, he noticed that there was a box with kestrels. So he went there as it was perfect outside and he was able to social distance to see if he could see them. And so he did get to know the gardening team. The former boss of the team was the one who did build and install 2 nesting boxes there and added the first camera. He says, so we got into contact and I did buy them a camera for the second box with the deal that he could have access to it. Now he is mainly maintaining the cameras. He says, which can unfortunately not be reached from the internet. And he's keeping the gardening team up to date on what's happening. And every year he creates a photo book, a calendar, and often even a video, and he gives it to them. So it's a win-win situation. He says the boss of the gardening team is not the boss there anymore, but he still has a great connection with the new crew. The old boss, he says, is a very animal-loving person. He lives on a farm with some land next to a forest. He has also a nesting box with our mountain kestrels, where we have also placed some cameras. He even allows him to place game cameras on his property. The both of them have a lot of fun stalking the wild animals. Currently, there are 10 cameras throughout the property, and so he gets images and videos of these animals in these cameras. Now, he sent me a link. I'm going to try to copy it. See if it lets me here. I'm going to copy a link he sent, and I'm going to
I can share it when you.
I'm going to paste it in the comments.
And I share it.
Okay, I'm going to paste it in the comments because it's basically I went in there and I watched it, I believe, today. And what it is excerpts. I don't know if it sent it or not.
We see
Yeah,
something.
you did.
Yeah,
Did it?
can.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the link. So you could go to that link and you will see like a whole year's worth of cut and pastes he did of all the different types of animals that were on that person's property that they set up these 10 cameras. And I think the video is like 17 to 20 minutes long, something like that. And it was really worthwhile watching it. So give Scubarazzi a little support here and go to his channel and watch that video. And he does have other ones in there from previous years as well. So I tip my hat off to him for the time he spends doing all that stuff. I mean, it's definitely not something that doesn't require a lot of effort on his part, as well as his friend.
Beautiful images, great
So
conclusion
that's
of the
the story
series.
of the monastery, and I appreciate all the images that he shared over the last several years.
Next year, the new generation.
So great job. And let me bring up my cheat sheet here. The last set of images are mine, and then as usual, we will go through them from beginning to end. Spend 3 or 4 seconds on a shot, so those that showed up late have the opportunity to see some of these images that we showed earlier in the evening. So I'm going to just show a group that I threw in here. This first one, I guess you could call this one "In Your Face" would probably be a good title for this particular one. Oh.
A bit too much on the face. Whoa!
In your face. Now this is a tri-colored heron. This is a pretty good crop. This is an 8x12 crop. So I could represent the what's going on here is the adult tricolor is feeding a youngster, and you could see up here the bill from another youngster who you can't see because they want to get
Mine, it's mine.
So you've got the one getting fed, you got the one that you can only see at part of its mouth who wants to be fed.
What about the other beak?
There's actually a group of 3 youngsters, and 2 of them are almost the same size, and unfortunately the third one I'm hoping makes it. I mean, it's nowhere near as big as these, but it does appear like it's not starving yet anyway, so hopefully it'll make it. But that's typically unfortunately what happens is depending on how many they have, the ones that are most aggressive in getting the food get the food, and if there's one of them that's a little shy or a little bit meek, that's usually the one that doesn't make it.
Let me give you a compliment here, Jeff. Great crop, correct? I mean, again, we talk about this all week, correct? It's tell the story. That crop helped to tell the story. Fantastic. I love it.
Well, thank you. So the let's see here. The next
the whole one too.
The next image here is more of, I like to do like we say, you have to take advantage of what opportunities present themselves, and sometimes what presents itself is just more of a environmental shot or what I would call a bird portrait. I would call this one like a bird portrait. This is of a green heron, and all these shots are with the Z9 with the 800 PF. And a lot of these shots were like Bob is usually shooting with me when we're doing these shots, and they're not always easy because you've got very tall grasses, and sometimes when it's windy, we're waiting for the wind to blow a certain way so that the grass is not like in the bird's face. So we're just sitting there waiting for the wind to blow a certain direction or whatnot to get some of these shots, because they like to bury themselves in the reeds and when they have their young, and it's very, very hard to get shots of them when they're, theoretically out in the open a little bit more, because you still got reeds in the foreground and you're kind of fighting that element all the time.
And Jeff, you have a question from Corazzi on the last photo. Oh, the one before, the one before.
Oh, the one before, they're tricolor. They're both tricolor herons, and the juveniles don't have the same coloration yet.
Thank you.
Now this next shot is an oyster catcher, and here I shot wide open, and maybe I shouldn't have, but I did. F6.3, and you could see the baby's outline right here where I'm moving the mouse.
Wow.
So that's the fuzzy little baby. And I think there might be another one back here because there were several of them, but that's mom or dad. I don't know which. Very hard to tell the difference between the male and the female. It has a nice big chunk of meat out of a clam to feed the young.
Beautiful.
Then this shot was of a red-bellied woodpecker deciding to do a little bit of a shake. So it wanted to ruffle it ruffled its feathers on its own. It wasn't the wind. It did that on its own, and I wanted to capture that movement.
Beautiful.
You did.
And then to switch things up a little bit, this was very early morning on the beach, and there are people there earlier. There are people there on the beach. Believe me, when they open up at 6 a.m. in the morning, and so here is a shot of a young lady, or younger than me anyway, young lady walking her dog, and you can see faintly. You can see the hotels behind the fog that's above the ocean. You barely see the buildings in the background. But I thought that was just something a little bit different to take.
Beautiful.
And
it looks like a cliff.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then I put my Art Wolf hat on as my poor attempt as an abstract. These are just pockets of water on the beach area, with obviously sunrise, the sun lighting up these little pockets of water on the beach, and I just thought it made an interesting pattern, and decided to capture it. Like I said, you try to take advantage of what the man upstairs chooses to share with you that day.
Exactly.
I got two more here. I call this one the Three Stooges. These are juvenile. These are the juvenile tricolor herons when they were younger than in the shot where mom was feeding the one. This was maybe a week or so before that, when they were small, week and a half maybe before they were smaller. And this is the three of them together.
They're so ugly. They are beautiful.
Yeah. They're so ugly. They're pretty.
Yeah.
And one of them went to the hairdresser and got some orange put in the hair.
Exactly.
But they're always fun to try to get them, and it's always a pain in the behind because they're always behind a ton of branches, and
cover themselves.
You could take 100 pictures and you're going to throw away 98 of them. Let's put it that way. That's just the way it is. You just got to be patient. You got to be willing to, because they're moving around, you got to be willing to waste a lot of shots, because eventually you're going to get one that's decent. You just have to be patient.
Although I would say, Jeff, that if these are the Three Stooges, this is Larry, and Larry.
Yeah. Larry got cloned a couple times.
Exactly.
And my last shot is a shot for Roy. Now,
Oh,
this is
Familiar creature.
yes, this is to me a sad shot because um, this is Mullet Pond, which would be when you drive in on the right hand
Right.
side, and this pond should be crystal clear.
Hmm.
This pond looks like crap, excuse my language, because of the mismanagement of the park. And they don't allow water to come in from the marsh side. They don't let it flow into um, this pond like they should. And they're basically trying to grow a lot of grasses in there and whatnot to provide a food source for ducks in the late fall. And as a result of not adding any water from the marsh that's fresh, the food supply is greatly diminished and the allergy gets out of control, and you could have 50% or more of that what was once a very beautiful pond looking like this. I actually feel bad for the alligator.
Ah,
Um,
Jeff, just because you don't understand the high things the people thinking about them.
you
They
know,
thinking differently, away from us. We don't understand the nature and the beauty and all this. They know better.
yeah, yeah. So this is my Roy shot for Roy, and that's it for all our images for tonight. And I thank everybody so much as always for your effort. Um, Very commendable work by everybody, and I will go back to the beginning and flip through these, and then I'm gonna grab something to drink real quick after that, and then we will have a little conversation. About rumors and other things, and have Gustavo talk about future programming on the general discussion show. That's the third Saturday of every month. But let's go back to the first images, and we will. If I'm going through them too quickly, let me know,
Too
because
fast.
there is a delay between what I see and what you see. Is not. I don't want to spend too much time on them, but I want everybody to get a quick refresher of what we saw tonight.
so it's Bob. Rapper.
This is Bob Repper.
Beautiful. Love that photo.
Mhm.
And that one.
Yeah.
The American oyster catcher is so beautiful.
Yeah, it's neat. I'll tell you, we're very fortunate that we could get images of the babies from this location, because I'll go to North Carolina with Tim, and we'll go to an area that has nesting um, terns, a couple different species of terns and oyster catchers, and we will see the adult oyster catchers go onto the beach and go into the water to get food. Uh, but when they first have their young, their nests are nowhere where you are going to see them. The terns are like right off the beach. You could see the eggs, you could see the babies. The skimmers, the same thing. You could see their nests, you could see their babies. But the oyster catchers, you don't see the babies until they're much bigger and they're actually walking down to the beach with mom and dad, because they're like really farther off the beach area, at least in this one beach in North Carolina anyway.
Anitas. So we're seeing now Anitas.
Anita's shots.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful mare.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Wish I had hair like that.
Oh, fall behind. Looks like a meerkat.
Beautiful osprey.
Yeah.
Randall's photo of the osprey. He took for.
Randall's
No,
photo.
that's Anita's.
Yeah, it's actually, it is Anita's. Yeah, I misspoke, is what I did.
Yeah.
I'm on medication. You have to excuse me. I'm medicated right now.
You're on pharmaceuticals.
I'm on pharmaceutical. I'm keeping the pharmaceutical company happy.
Now the real Randall.
Now the real Randall open its mouth. Ah! And he's got the largest crepe myrtle tree that I've ever seen in his yard. And Randall's trying to open up. His neighbor's opening up a hotel. That, you remember that commercial? And we'll keep the lights on for you.
Yeah, they're pretty nice when the lights are on.
Yeah. Then.
Yeah, I can go outside
dear.
right now. There's a couple in front. So.
Oh dear, you got a deer. Oh dear.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
But yeah, those are nice color, those flowers. Well, I'm glad you shoot the deer with a camera, Randall, and not a gun.
Yeah. I don't like eating deer meat.
This is cute.
So they'll lose their spots at the end of August then.
Here in Colorado. I don't know exactly in Texas.
Well, I figure it's the same. So
Probably, but you probably are a little bit ahead, and of course, it's a different species. So
Yeah. And then we get into Mr. Stewart's efforts.
The Inglewood attitude.
I think this one was like looking at David saying, looks like a good snack.
Yeah.
Either that
Take your time, David. I will wait.
Yeah, I got all the time in the world. I'll just flap my wings. I'll make you think I'm drying my wings.
Oh, it's amazing how long that they had their wings out like that. You know,
Z-train.
Hoodoo.
Even Stone
Remind me of Dove.
Tropics wear hats.
This remind me of Dove on the beginning. Then when he said hat, I thought, yeah, that's from wheat.
like this is why I broke away from the show last week or 2 weeks ago. You know, just couldn't let this shot go by.
Now we're hitting the series of 3 shots with the same lens in the same location, the same day, within an hour and a half of each other with the changing light that Terry eloquently captured here. Considerable difference in lighting.
What, you just too lazy to move, Terry?
Yeah, you understand that.
Oh, they're great shots, though. Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Oh, yeah.
The honey eater.
Then he's got the cool possum.
beautiful.
There were 2 there, actually. A couple, I think. They were sleeping together.
And then this was Michael Dries, I believe.
Beautiful.
He went to Newfoundland and got some wonderful shots of bird species that he had never seen before. And he has, as I would say, he has some very nice wall hangers that he could put on his wall very proudly from this trip.
And Michael is always so good in this type of feat. This is not the only photo he had shown. In the prior one, that
For
he
me, this is the day, the shot of the day.
yes.
Hmm.
But in that one photo, I mean, this is fantastic. But the last photo that he managed to make, the landscape with the wildlife, and he put the puffin so that the puffin is not in front of the island. That takes skill. Very good.
Yeah, right there.
Exactly. You see, you move a little bit a foot, and then that puffin is in front of those islands.
It's
Okay?
in front of that rock right there, or that one.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
that
Excellent composition.
that takes
Excellent.
that takes an eye. Sorry, guys.
And then we got shots in and around the hometown of Martin.
Yes.
And Martin loves orchids. For those of us who may have forgotten, but he's a big orchid guy. He loves orchids, and he does a great job capturing them
And knows about a
and
lot.
knows about them. Yeah. I'll tell you, probably 90% of the people, if they were walking in this area, and saw this, they would just say, "Oh, it's just a bunch of weeds."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what they
Yeah.
think. They just say it's a bunch of weeds or wildflowers or whatever. They wouldn't say, "Oh, that's an orchid." They just say it's a weed or whatever.
That's
Especially you get to this one.
yeah.
The framing of this one is beautiful.
Yes.
And then he made his mom very happy by
Mhm.
picking her up and bringing her to see lightning bugs. You're a good son, Martin, to do that. Very nice of you to do that. And then we got the images from Gustavo. Got the Oriole,
So beautiful
the
color.
Cooper's hawk. I think Gustavo and others had a talk about making sure they had deers in their photo this week.
Exactly. Deer season.
That's what we call, oh dear.
Oh dear. And then Gustavo's on his hummingbird adventure right now.
Mosquito photos.
Mosquito.
Yeah.
That's a fly.
Yes.
And that's a wonderful shot.
Yeah. It's funny. I'd have to dig it up because I don't even think the shot came out that great, and the hummingbird was pretty far away. But there was a hummingbird one day, and there were these pine trees, and there was like some big space between the branches. It's probably more, obviously more than one pine tree. And I see something moving around in like what looked like the open space. And it took me a while to be able to focus on it because I wasn't really close to it. And it ended up being a hummingbird. And I'm like, why is this hummingbird zipping back and forth in this open space between these pine trees? And then I had a shot. I'd have to see if I could find it. A shot, and I cropped it in quite a bit. And what it was doing is there was the thinnest threads from a spider, and there were like insects that might have been like in the strand of web or whatever, and the hummingbird was picking the insects out of it.
Wow.
And it's like, it was like weird, not what talk about, tiny, the tiny shots that Jeff and Leslie
Exactly.
were tiny animals or tiny creatures.
And I was thinking that hummingbirds feed only with the nectar.
That's true. But during the time, they always eat a little bit of insect as well.
Yeah.
But during the time of the year when they raise the young, they need more protein, so they have to.
Exactly. Yeah.
So these are a series from Jeff and Leslie.
So weird, isn't it?
Yeah, he loves to get dragonflies.
Mm.
And the yearly cicada. Ugly looking suckers. And there's an eye shot for you. And there's the tiny creature, the little inchworm over here.
On a lazy, what is it called?
The conehead flowers, I think they are.
Oh, yeah.
We admire it, but maybe it kills the flower.
Then Louise sent in some shots, series of shots.
We take us around the world on his wildlife pursuit.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Louise should be doing a series like remember the old Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom back when we were kids.
Yeah. Well, Disney used to do a lot of that stuff too, and they stopped. So
yeah. Here's looking at you.
Nice eye.
And then we got the very memorable images from Bob Rosado's dad that he took.
It's nice to have these photographs. For the rest of us, it is just photographs in a book.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Nothing that my wife and I, we like months ago, we said we were going to do this and we haven't done it yet. And we're both retired now. So there's no excuse that we're not doing it. But I probably have
What you're going to
a dozen or more very large photo albums. And I says, we got to pull one of those out every weekend and go through it,
I thought you mean you want to make ski.
Well, I thought you wanted to go sunbathing on a mountaintop.
I'm not sunbathing my body anywhere. They'd say, "Oh, look, a sperm whale washed up on the beach."
Not up to the mountain.
10,000 feet.
Not at 10,000 feet. Yeah. So then we got the Kestrel shots from Scuba Rossi.
Wow. Nice conclusion of the series.
Yeah.
Take off time.
I think what prompted me to ask him about the monasteries, you're sitting here saying, okay, you got the building, you got a broken window pane here, you got the box in the background, and I'm like wondering, who put the box there, who maintains it, is the building being used for anything, is it empty, so that kind of drove me to ask him about the history of that building. No, drop off the mouse for this guy and take off, and then drop off a mouse for this guy and take off.
Uber Eat.
Oh, Z-Wade's popped in. Hello, Z-Wade. How you doing? Happy belated birthday to you. Roy sent me an email that you were on or something on your birthday, and by the time I saw it, it was over. and then a handful for me. We'll go through these quick.
Fantastic photo.
So funny, this one.
Figured I'd mix it up a little with a couple photos you probably don't expect from me.
We'll convince you to turn to landscape photography eventually.
Oh, I used to do landscapes all the time when I lived in New England. That's all I did. Landscapes and seascapes.
And who corrupts you to wildlife?
Moving somewhere where there a fair abundance of it, and that uh, you know down here where I live, it's pretty much flat, and you have to drive quite a ways before you get to farmland or anything like that. I mean, I want to get some
Like
better
here.
shots of some of the cotton fields and things like that we do have some cotton fields here that are farmed. But for the most part, it's yeah, I could drive half a day or more and get to some mountain areas in Tennessee or whatever. But in terms of a day type trip thing, no, so it's pretty much and the beaches with a bunch of tourists on it aren't always exactly
Yeah.
okay to get those shots once in a while. But so the birds, so I got attracted more to the birds. The birds were of more interest to me than the landscapes I can get down here. But
Yeah, they're not the same all the time.
I do like doing landscapes, though. I have a lot of love for landscapes and seascapes and stuff. But I got to be in a different area.
But going back to the image review, guys, fantastic. I always enjoy the
I like that, Roy.
right.
Yeah,
Sabotaging my serious comment.
Roy might be taking off and leaving us shortly.
That's right.
That's the right mood, Mike.
Is that the same hat you wore in kindergarten?
Propeller head.
Keep it light. That's the way. We don't need to be too serious.
I think Luis is on the. I probably can bring him. Let me see.
But once again, I applaud everybody for their effort
Good morning.
for this month.
Hey, Louis.
And
But,
Hi there.
yeah, but Luis, that you're talking. But what a fantastic collection of photos.
Okay.
I do enjoy it. These shows are getting, for me, are getting better and better and better. I tell you, is the variety today with Bob Rosario photos and combination of his old slide with his dad historical photos and of course all the wildlife. You can see we even inspired Roy to put the wildlife hat as well. So no, it's. I mean, guys, we do have something that is special, right? For me, it is.
Very good. Yeah.
Oh,
So
goodness. Okay.
we don't need a big audience. We just need a good audience.
A good audience. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's and and we know that there's excuse me that there's a fair amount of you folks that our time zone doesn't work well for you, and you do make the effort to watch us the next day or the day after that, and it shows in the numbers when we look at how many views we had on the show, whether it be the show for the image review or the one for the general discussion on the third Saturday of every month. And we greatly appreciate that you visit us, whether it's while we're live or later on in the week when you have time to do it. It's greatly appreciated by all of us.
I'll have a look as well later because I'm just awake. So
Well,
No.
there are 4 people here now that it's already tomorrow.
it is Sunday.
No, you just led it yesterday.
Now, I spent some time going through the rumors, and we're going to Actually, you know what? Because it's more important than going through this stuff. I want Gustavo to talk about the slides he put together first, because while most of the people are still here, and then I'll talk about some of the stuff I dug up just for general information. But Gustavo, why don't you
Keep talking until I put it on for the
keep
time.
talking? I think
Keep
people are
talking.
tired. People have got to be tired of me
No,
talking
no,
by
no,
now.
no, 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 no. That's it. I need to get to the
I
material.
don't have I don't have a Morgan Freeman type of voice, one of those voices that people really want to listen to.
Yes.
I've had more, believe me, I've had more people, including those that come on here and watch us, tell me that they've fallen asleep during the show. So I know I have a negative effect on the community because I put people to sleep. I mean, maybe that's a good thing. If you have trouble sleeping, let me know. I'll do a live stream for you, and I'll
Yeah.
talk you to death. I'll talk you to sleep.
Well, you don't have to do the
Miranda
live
looking
stream.
at
We
me.
could go back to one of your other shows.
Yeah.
Randall is trying to look at you.
Yeah. So anyway, so this is let me make sure that I'm on the right page. Yeah. Well, give me a little bit of a chance here. Let me make sure that. All
Somebody's
right.
knocking. Somebody's knocking.
Uh, it's,
Let me in. Let me in.
all right. So I can share now. I do can share. Okay. So one of the things we wanted to talk today is, we always like to have a series of uh, topics and ideas in the pipeline, correct? Because
Mhm.
it's easy for us to work on stuff and have something prepared, particularly for that third week of the month where we have more of a variety show. You see, Jeff do the focus meeting, I do the variety show, so I need to get something here prepared. Thank for all they have contributed in the past to this, correct? So this is what we have in the pipeline. I do want to expand on the topics, correct? And we're going to talk a little bit about that. But so the next one that is coming, it's in about a couple of weeks. Is I have something that I have been preparing. As I mentioned today, this is the time of the year when I concentrate with the hummingbirds, since we have all the migrant hummingbirds coming here in Colorado. Correct. So you will have to put on with me and see some bird pictures again, and I will try to put a reasonable good story. Now, another thing that we have in the pipeline is we have a astrophotography series, right? Out of which is a great uh, way of doing this because it's a collaboration. It's a collaboration between Terry, uh, David, and Bob Rosario. They are going to be put it together. I'm going to help them a little bit, but they're going to put a series of astrophotography, uh, almost like a course, correct? But so as we all are learning, we're going to learn from them. We have that in the pipeline, correct? Now, a couple of other topics that I have in the pipeline, or we could have in the pipeline, and Jeff and Leslie, uh, uh, wildlife photography. I know that you guys are doing a lot of landscape and foliage during the fall. So I think in order for us to get into the mood of taking fall photography here in the northern hemisphere, correct? It will be great to have a presentation on fall photography, landscape and foliage. I think Bob, you also have great photography where you are in Connecticut there, correct? So we will have something here.
Your microphone plays,
A little bit better
Gustavo.
here now. Okay. Sorry, I
Yeah.
put the microphone away. So the other thing that I can do is, for me, pretty soon here we're going to have the elk rod, which is part of the fall photography. So I'm definitely going uh, to put some photos for you guys. I'm always excited here in Colorado. And last, I think the last general meeting, the last show, we talk about photo techniques like calling your photos, what to keep, what to process. I know that many of us use different software, some free, some one that you can download. It will be good to have a discussion around that. So these are things that we have, correct? And I would love to have more in the pipeline. Sometimes will be a short presentation that we can combine. Sometimes it will be a series of presentations like the one that we are putting on astrophotography, or some of the community here putting on astrophotography. So just to teach you, correct, on what's coming up. We already start working on the thumbnails for some of these. So, and the next photo launch live, what I call the general discussion, general meeting, is August 16th, correct? And that's where I'm going to be talking a little bit about hummingbird photography. I know some other people here do hummingbird photography. So if you have some hummingbird photography that you want to share as well, that will be welcome to be shared during that time. And Luis, I know that you do all that. So I'm going to go through certainly the Colorado birds that come here in the migration, but also talk a little bit about techniques, setups, correct? I know
Hmm.
Jim has always been doing how do we do this, because there is a lot of techniques that go around this. Some of these are taken with flash, some are taken without flash, use a natural light. What kind of flowers you can you plant, or what kind of flowers you can buy to attract them. So that's one of the things that is coming. Is if we don't have any other topic for that week, that will be one of the on the August 16th, and then after that, we're going to do the premiere on this. Let's say this astrophotography series, right? Starting with the introduction to astrophotography, and it will be a different type of presentation because it will have a formal presentation, but it will be a lot of panel discussion and advice, correct? Because as we learn, like David was talking about, um, we all make a lot of mistakes. So as we are going in our journey through this photography, we will share not only the successes but also some of the failures and some of the things that we learned in this trip. Correct. So Terry, Bob, Robert Rosado, and David Stewart are going to. We started already collaborating, and if anybody else I know wants to participate on this, let us know because we always welcome to have more people into this learning exercise. Correct. So that's coming on the show in September. Right now, after that, there will be because this is a big topic only on issues about the first one will be an introduction and the kind of photography, but then when we're going to hopefully through the end of this year and next year, we're going to dive in into equipment for the different type and the photo that you see here is what they call the deep space photography. This is taken by Terry, who kindly gave us a example of his photo of the Orion Nebula, and you can see that's a different type of photography. So very very beautiful photo. Congratulations to Terry, and thank you for letting us use this to promote this series. So these are what we have in the calendar. So the general meeting. To be determined what the presentation, but likely to be that one on hummingbird photography. That will be August 16th. Okay. Then we have the image in September. We have the image review, which in this case will be September 6th. So start submitting your photos. I mean, wonderful show like the wonderful show that we have today, and then we will have our general meeting that on the September 20. If we finish in time, for sure that will be our introduction uh, to astrophotography by Terry, David, and Bob. Okay. Then on October, then we will have the October 6th uh, uh, image review, and then of course the general meeting and special presentation. All these to be determined depending how we can mature. I like to have the idea, for instance, here in the Northern Hemisphere, as we go into the next season, correct, the fall, that we can talk a little bit ahead of time about the potential of putting some presentation together so that we can encourage people to do that type of photography. Correct? In the northern hemisphere here, we're going to start having longer nights, so the more chance to experiment with the astrophotography. The same with the fall coming is an opportunity to photograph the rock, to photograph the fall foliage, etc., etc. Right? So finally, here is the reminder again. As we finish one photo review, we start hassling you about giving us some photos for the next, which will be Saturday, September 6th. Again, all the photos, continue to send those to Jeff at Selected Imagery 1 at gmail.com. The format JPEG, 2048 pixels on the longer side or slightly bigger. Correct? And please do send your photo the Friday before the photo review. An error here is to be September 5th, and that will be, as David always remind me, middays, just to give Jeff a little bit of a time to put all the narrative and put everything in the right order. 2 weeks before the image review is preferable. Okay, so I know we have wonderful people here like Martin that sent great description of your photos and the story behind the photos, like we saw today from Bob and uh, from Martin, and of course Jeff and Leslie. So that's what I have, guys, on this. But do please say, if you have an idea, doesn't have to be. We're not going to ask you to do it immediately, but we're going to encourage to keep you, and then we're going to keep a list of things for that general meeting. So that's what we have. Uh, so anyway, let's go back here to our panel, okay? And then we can talk a little bit.
So thank you for that, Gustavo, and that run through. And sorry, I mean, I had read through your slides earlier. Sorry, I wasn't hear you do a lot of it. The dog decided she had to do her thing, and then you got to find the right blade of grass in the whole yard. You got to go through that process.
Yeah,
so, it always takes a while. So one of the cameras that recently came out or got announced, that's getting a lot of discussion overall, is the newly introduced Sony RX1R3, which is a fixed lens 61 megapixel full frame compact camera. And this got released almost a decade after the last model came out. And what shocked me when I first saw this, I'm like, looked at the price and my jaw almost hit the floor, number one, at almost $5,100. And I said, gee, even the accessories are like a price, such as the very almost identical thumb grip that Leica uses, being made and sold for $298, and a half body case for $248. And now probably what people are going to compare it to is the Leica Q3. That's going to be the obvious comparison camera. And obviously the Q3 is more expensive. But the Sony does have a few advantages over the Q3, but such as, it does have a much higher shutter speed capability to the camera. But that, when you think about what that type of a camera is typically going to be used for, it's going to be used more for street photography, some landscape work, things like that. And so you have to ask yourself, stuff like higher shutter speed capability isn't necessarily needed for the genre that you're going to use that camera for. Same thing with, it has a lot of subject detection modes, animal and, animal, bird, everything like you'd have, like if you were doing wildlife. And the camera isn't a wildlife camera. So you may have those features in the camera, but do you really need those features in that type of a camera? It does have faster autofocus, which is a benefit. But like I said, I don't think anybody's going to be using that camera to take pictures of sports car races or birds in flight or anything like that. And also, you're limited with it being a fixed lens. You don't have the focal length in the lens to take images of birds and car races anyway. Now, the Leica has advantages over the Sony, as going the other way around. It does have a tilt screen. The Sony does not have a tilt screen. It has a wider angle lens, and many would say wider and faster lens, and it has image stabilization and with the lens for stills, which you don't have with the Sony. It has a better user interface. I think many would agree. And, the Leica does have wonderful colors to it and has much better video specs as well. The EVF is 5.76 million dots versus 2.36 million dots. Build quality, let's just say I'll let other people argue about the build quality, okay? But I think most of us know which one we would think would be built a little bit better than the other. And the Leica's weather sealed to IP52 rated, which the Sony is not. Now, Sony does crop the images to simulate different focal lengths at reduced megapixel output, just like the Q3 does. So that's very similar in how they do that. So I'm just going to say it's going to be very interesting to see how well this camera does, if it steals any of the Leica faithful to join the Sony crowd, or folks would rather spend a bit more for the Leica brand. And Roy's got a nice video there of the birds on his porch.
I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. And no matter how good these cameras are, one wishes for the price point that the lenses weren't fixed. Number one, folks struggling to decide if they want a 43 millimeter lens or a 28 millimeter lens if they're getting a Leica brand. Now that they split the difference and get the Sony with the 35 millimeter lens, which is an old design, no stabilization. So to me, the advantages of the Q3 outweigh the few pluses of the Sony, and I would pay the extra $1,600 for the Leica. But in my opinion, they're both way overpriced for what they are. Another advantage of the Sony is the reduced weight, 49% lighter than the Q3. But because of the compact size, it affected the EVF specs, being a lower spec EVF. So some say if you're in the Sony camp, just buy the small-bodied A7CR with the interchangeable lenses at a much more favorable price, $3,000 for the body. And that's my 2 cents worth, and we'll talk a little bit more about it later on from what Sony rumors actually had to say about their own product.
It didn't get a great welcome from the YouTube influencers, correct?
It's mixed. I mean, let's. I'll bring it up now. Let's just say Tony Northrup loves it and is going to buy one. So if you love Tony Northrup, then you're going to run out and buy one too, right? I'll leave it at that. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. Tony Northrup.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a good reason not to buy one.
But anyway, we will touch back on that in a little bit. But I'll jump over to the Nikon rumors a little bit. The Nikon Z9 II. Not just Nikon rumors, but other rumor sites, are basically figuring that it's going to be a late fall announcement, November ? Followed by actual product in 2026. And I think they're going to try to use a similar time frame they did when they introduced the Z9. But we shall see. The Nikon ZR, or maybe called the ZV, is expected in September. Silver Nikon ZF is supposed to come out this year. In terms of lenses, DX type lenses, they got a 35 f1.8 macro or similar, and a 16 to 50 2.8 zoom or similar coming out to support DX cameras. Full frame, I don't quite understand this one. They said 14 to 24, or I don't know why you need a 14 to 24. We pretty much already, got that, don't you? Or a 14 millimeter fixed lens or similar, a 24 to 105 or similar. I don't understand that either. If you got the 24 to 120, unless a 24 to 105 is going to be a faster lens, I would just get the 24 to 120. A rumored 1 to 3 or 120 to 3 f2.8 lens around $8,000. My opinion, limited range, three times more than the 100-400 lens. Granted, 2 stops faster, but how many people are going to pay that price for that lens?
But Jeff, so I actually have that one here on my list of things because I know this was going to be a discussion. That lens, the 100 to 300 on the F mount, was one of the last zoom lenses that got introduced before we started on the mirrorless system. Okay? That was a fantastic lens. Okay? So Roy familiar with one lens that I used to have, the 200 to 400 f4. That was a fantastic zoom. Correct. Now, this is the defense that I'm going to do for that lens. Correct. Except the 180 to 600, Nikon doesn't have a good telephoto zoom. This original one, if they keep the same formula or a modification of the same formula, was an excellent photo. I tell you personally, although that is covered, let's say, by the 100 to 400 or so on the lenses that I have, if they release that 100 to 300 f2.8 with the same quality that the F mount has and an integrated TC, that will be a killer lens.
Well, if it doesn't have a TC in it, to me, the range is too limited, and $8,000 is just too much money.
But with the TC, correct? That will be a killer lens because there's sometimes big animals or wildlife photography that you can have, and that lens, the original formula for the F found, was legendary in terms of image quality. Because I mean, we love it. I have it, the 180 to 600, but that lens is not the sharpest lens there is. Okay, the 100 to 300 was fantastic. The 200 to 400 was incredible. You could almost not distinguish that zoom from, let's say, a prime, but it came a big price, correct? That
and then if it had a TC in it, then you're gonna be at 450, but you're gonna be you're gonna be at the same f stop as you would be with the 1 to 400.
Well, you will be no. 300 with the TC will be 450.
It would be 450, but it would probably be f4.
F4.
Right.
That's a great combination. So I disagree slightly because I know that I've never had that lens, but I know the pedigree of that 100 to 300. Right?
Oh, I'm not saying it's not going to be a good lens. All I'm saying is it's not a range that suits a lot of situations. It's too short for much wildlife.
Yeah.
It's good for maybe if you're doing a sport event where you can get close enough.
In house,
but it's got some limitations.
It got some issue, but remember it's a space that doesn't, like, for instance, we're talking about, since we're in the discussion portion. One of the advantage that the 180 to 600 has, as we know, is that you can focus so close, correct? So if I'm
absolutely.
If you are in a situation like you have a feeders and stuff like that, it's not the sharpest lens, but it's the one that you can really get, within a couple of meters. If you try to shoot it with the 600 or the 500 PF at the old time, or with this, or even with the one with the TC, you have to be 5 meters or more. Okay, so the what is the minimum focus distance for the 100 to 300 is also important. Yeah, in my opinion. So anyway, hopefully they will bring it because it's a gap in the lineup.
Now the other thing they're supposedly
So
going to
that's
come out
getting
is with
different.
the last 1.4 lens to complete the Trinity would be the 85 1.4.
Yes.
Oh, we got Joey popping in. Hello, Joe. What are our thoughts on the DJI 360 camera? I have no thoughts whatsoever.
Well, good competition. Correct. Bringing competition is important. Correct.
I don't know enough about it to make a comment. I haven't read about it or anything. So me personally, I don't have an opinion yet, good or bad.
No,
But
but
hey, more is more company in the industry is a welcome. I welcome it.
exactly. Now he can tell us his opinion because he's our drone photographer here. Correct. He can
Yeah.
tell us.
Now, the I don't really
think that's
talk
a
about.
vlogging camera, Gustavo.
I'm sorry.
I think that one is a vlogging camera. It's
No,
not a
no,
drone.
no, no, no. They're going to go. This is the big. Well, Joey tell us, but I think the big news is that the 36 the DJI is coming with a drone system as well. If I understood the rumors, but anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, the DJI, they are drones, and the 360 is just a small one, like a blogging and things
It's
like
an
that.
actual camera
Eh,
rather than a drone camera.
but the Insta are going to have drones now as well.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's the competition portion. Anyway,
Not a big third party guy too much, but I just made me blink, so I wrote it down. The Aster Hori 6mm f2.8 full frame fisheye for Z mount is coming out down the road. Obviously, a type of lens that doesn't get a lot of use, but could give you some interesting results depending on your subject matter, and might be a fun lens to buy if the price is right. But I could not find on their website any indication of what the pricing will be. But I'm sure because it's a Chinese-made lens or whatever, it's probably not going to be overly expensive. But we'll see. Viltrox was supposed to announce this week a 15mm f1.7 APS-C lens for $220. It's on sale on their website for $227. So if you got an APS-C camera and you want a 15mm lens that's pretty damn fast, $227 is a pretty good deal. Zeiss came out with it has the Otis ML 50mm f1.4 lens now for Z mount. It's at B&H Photo. It's $24.99. It's a manual focus lens only. In their advertising for it, they say as an apochromatic optic, the Otis ML 50.14 minimizes chromatic aberrations and colored artifacts, and it renders colors accurately and true to life. Distagon and sonar optical designs help this lens produce images with noticeably high contrast and sharpness. Zeiss T anti-reflective coating is applied to effectively reduce ghosting and flare, and 10 aperture blades contribute to the pleasing bokeh created by this lens, which greatly benefits portrait capturing. So, I mean, Zeiss makes good lenses. So, I'm sure there are people that may
Now made by
do
Casino,
it.
though.
Yeah. Now Nikon rumors they had a
Doesn't
whole
matter
list.
who make them. Nowadays, doesn't matter who make them.
Well,
As
if
long as
it's
the
a
standard.
Zeiss design to Zeiss specs,
Exactly. And the standardized standards
yeah.
with a check. Who cares if it is Cosina or Ouagadougou?
Okay.
The Nikon rumors for those that have a Z6 III, they got a whole list of brackets, plates, cages, and rigs, pictures and information on their site. So go there for details and images if you're looking for any accessories of that type for your Z6 III. Now, Sony rumors. This is coming from them. This isn't stuff that I'm making up. Oh, I thought Gustavo's mustache grew funny for a second, and then I realized it's a cat.
You thought it was a wig?
Gustavo grew a cat tail on his mustache.
You can use them for like a wig. On top, man.
Hairpiece.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yes.
And instead of raccoon caps, you could just have a cat cap. So Sony rumors. This is from them. According to them, they say that they reported to us that Sony has decided to postpone the launch of the Sony A7 IV, even though their sources told them that the camera is ready and in production. Sony executives said that they are behind on production of the Sony A1 II because demand is much higher than expected.
Again.
And now a Russian photography channel shared some more info that is yet to be verified, saying that at CP Plus, behind closed doors, Sony stated that they could show the A7 IV by the end of 2025 and release it in 2026 in ideal conditions. The ideal conditions means supply chains that are undergoing serious corrections because most photo manufacturers, and they're saying, I assume he means not native Chinese, but Japanese, are leaving China due to the very high tariffs that are being placed on parts made in China. Every manufacturer is moving factories to places like Vietnam or Thailand or South Korea. There are serious delays with implementing something new. Behind the closed doors, Sony said A7 V will get a new sensor and will be a pretty interesting camera. Nothing else was said. If they're saying if what they are writing is true, then the Sony A7 V will be announced at latest in November with availability in January, February. I don't know why they kind of contradicted the whole storyline here. That doesn't make sense. That's where they started. There are numerous YouTube videos linked on the Sony Alpha Rumors site for the new Sony RX1R3 that I talked about and commented on earlier. One video had the title, "Just buy the A7CR instead." Other titles had in them, "I tried the RX1R3 and now I'm confused. This camera is confusing. How Sony missed the mark. I love the lens, but that's it." Of course, as I mentioned earlier, Tony Northrup says he wants it and it's worth $5,100. But many titles don't have negative context in them, but it's safe to say a mixed reaction to this camera at best. Matt Irwin discussed this camera recently briefly in one of his last videos where he was at an event and a different YouTube content creator actually had that camera in his hand and was talking about it, but admitted that it isn't a camera he would use because it's just not his genre of photography. So it's not one that he would be buying anyway. But you can go to his channel to see his commentary on it. If you go to, there is an interesting article regarding Sony's financial statements and where they are moving with technology that affects sensors for all applications, including cameras, and discussions on where their key business focus is. It is a pretty good read. I would recommend it to anybody who's just interested in technology, whether they own a Sony camera or not. It's a good article to read. Sigma's supposedly going to have a new press event on August 19th to announce that what they think they're going to be announcing is a 200 millimeter f2 full frame sport lens for Sony E and Leica L, a 35-1.2 full frame art lens for Sony E and Leica L, and a 12 millimeter f1.4 APS-C lens for E, L, Z, X, and RF mount. Jumping to Fuji rumors.
Yeah. On that issue of the sensor, okay? I think that I agree with you. The explanation about the Sony technology on this 3-layer sensor,
Yeah.
it was very good,
Yeah.
and it also I think it's important for us, correct? That tells you that for a while we have been thinking that the uh, race for better sensor is over. Both this announcement and the announcement from Canon, which probably will mention, correct, tells you that no, there is still technology to come from the sensor side.
Yep.
So, sorry, and before we continue with this, let me bring Randall Lucky into the frame here for a little while.
Hey, Lucky, I got a warning for you. You won't be lucky if you keep chewing up pillows.
Or shoes.
But you see, after all these kisses, Randall, what can you do?
He's going to have scratched eyeglasses in about 30 seconds.
Sorry.
Randall, how old did you say that dog was?
6 months.
That looks pretty big
Now,
already.
He was underfed. So he was almost like 46 pounds, almost 46.
You won't get rid of him. He loves you. You could tell. He loves you. He's all over you.
So,
Daddy.
So I think he's gained 5 pounds since he's been with me. And he's eating 3 times a day. He's gone through his medicine. No problem. He'll eat anything. I gave him his heartworm pills and all that. And I walk him twice a day. So he's keeping me healthy.
Daddy. That is true.
He's trying to see if you want to eat his paw.
That is true, Randall. Congratulations again, Randall.
Yes. Good luck. Good luck with the dog.
Yeah. Yeah, you're going to get a bath. You know that, right? It's either that when I go to the family reunion, I'll just dump him in the lake, and that way he'll be clean somewhat.
Squirt a little shampoo on him first, then throw him in the lake.
Yeah, there you go.
We got Roy's porch there.
Yeah, his wife chased off the birds, so they're probably making
now Roy's making us dizzy.
The most they are on the tree.
But going back,
They're the most noisy birds I ever know. They're disgusting. They go by a flock. They're running around and they screaming like crazy.
Yeah, there you go.
There's the kookaburras.
That's a kookaburra.
Yeah, and I see the cockatoo in the back.
Was on the tree. Yeah.
So anyway,
Here in one country.
Now they're coming back.
But as Gustavo was saying, that sensor that Sony's talking about initially is going to be used for industrial purposes. But if once you develop technology, whether it be for car manufacturers or any industrial type use, that technology eventually does trickle down and will probably trickle down into a camera at some point in time.
Because of the structure on the 3 layers, correct? You can see, you read the article that you recommended, that it's all about processing speed, correct?
Yeah.
And I know that you mentioned, but I think in another article, I think it was an article they mentioned that Nikon have been talking about basically also processing, correct, of the sensor to with AI to maximize or each basically every single pixel to have its own dynamic range. Okay, so the future is great. Right? It may take 2 years, it may take 5 years, but there is going to be better technology with regard to sensors. Okay, so anyway, that's my complementary to your commentary here.
Yeah. I want to say hello to Sanjit Paul Singh is in the house. So hello to Sanjit.
Hey, Sanjit.
Hope you were well. Hope you were doing good. And we appreciate you stopping by. And pop in on one of the shows, either the photo review part on the first Saturday of the month or the third Saturday a month. Pop in and for a few minutes and let us know what you're up to, what you're working on, what projects you're doing, how things are going. We would appreciate that. Like I said, hope you and your wife and your family are doing well. Looking at Fuji rumors. I know we're running over our normal time frame here, but Fuji rumors.
I have an hour to go before going to work, so
Fuji rumors.
okay.
They go and they say that they received the confidential Fujifilm X-E5 first look guide that was distributed 2 weeks prior to the announcement to the press and retailers. And the only part of the document that they shared is Fujifilm explains who the camera's for. And they're saying the primary target audience for the Fujifilm X-E5 are experienced photographers. Many will be looking for a second Fujifilm camera body or will recognize that the X-E5 offers the perfect blend of X series benefits: classic design, portability, straight out of camera image quality. It says others may already own an XE camera and or have experience of film photography. For this group, the camera will be an everyday carry used for a variety of image making and likely to be paired with a compact prime or smaller zoom lens. They think it'll find favor among newer photographers keen to document key life stages such as travel or starting a family. I won't read all of it here. They're saying without the success that they had with the X100V and the X100VI, the Fujifilm XE line probably would have gotten axed if it wasn't for those two models that have become very, very popular. Now I looked at the XT5 is really their high-end camera. The XT5 has more advanced features: weather sealing, higher resolution, better LCD, better battery life, dual card slots, so on and so forth. The XE5 that's going to come out is going to be smaller, more lightweight, and a rangefinder style design, appealing to those who value portability and a distinct aesthetic. They also, if you go on the Fuji Rumors website, you'll also see a list of price increases effective in the United States, effective on August 1st. A few examples is the X100VI is now $17.99. The XT5 body is $18.99. The GFX 100 RF that Mr. Ishii recently got is $53.99. So everything's going up. They had an interesting title for an article on their website called "How to Avoid Dubious AI Fujifilm Camera Guides and Some Great Fujifilm Books You Can Trust." Apparently, there have been some Fujifilm camera guide books that have been generated strictly by AI that are out there now polluting the landscape versus guides that are written by people that actually use the product and write the guide. So they're kind of warning everyone about that. That's really it. Canon rumors. There really wasn't much that I felt was worth talking about because it's basically just they're continuing firmware updates, and some of the firmware updates are to fix the previous firmware updates. So instead of getting in all that nonsense, I said, well, there's not really much in there that I thought was worth really bringing up. So that's all I have for tonight. I'll let everybody on the panel go around, and if there's anything they want to bring up or talk about quickly or briefly, feel free to do so before we say our goodbyes, or let us know once again what you're working on or what you may be doing in the next between now and the next show.
I got a small topic before we say our bye bye and see
Yeah.
if hopefully it will not take long. But I think it was mentioned in by Con in Grace of Westminster that Tom Hogan had written one of his dissertations about basically, let me see if I got my note here, that that a lot of the C9 users are feeling disrespected because of the software. I have not been updated, and now there is a lot of capabilities in the C8 that doesn't exist on the C9, and therefore he believes that this disrespect. I know I got the same. Uh, I got the same impression here, but this disrespect, because a lot of they are not maintaining the uh, basically flagship camera up to date and having the best software possible, correct? So anyway, I thought it was an interesting topic for a brief discussion. Uh, Obviously, Jeff, you have an opinion, and Terry, you do have an opinion.
Yeah, I asked him to. I said that on the Grace too, if you noticed. But Con he changed the story as usual because he's too Nikon.
Okay.
I love Nikon. I respect Nikon, but it is some lines which I can't cross. I pay $9,000 Australian. It was my money to buy the flagship, and I expect from a company like a Nikon
Okay.
to respect me back and give me what they have promised. It's not my idea. They promised it. Because when they put up the Z8, they said there is the same camera, just smaller. Now, for me, now there's two things. Or they lied back then and the camera is different, and they can't do that on a Z9, or they don't care about the Z9 users, which they pay extra money for something they can't have. And it is, we don't, most of the Z9ers, the only thing they need, and I think you know better than anybody, the limiter,
Yes, of course.
the focus limiter. The rest, I don't care about they put the software for how call it, portraits and things like that on Z9. Please,
Yes.
who professional use the Z9 for portraits and go to work on a camera, make it soft, and this is gimmicks ridiculous for Z9.
Exactly.
That's how I feel.
Don't know why.
And all right, you have these things, all right, but put the stuff you have to.
Terry,
I
you
feel
know,
exactly like Tom. Tom, that I feel exactly the same. I feel disrespected from Nico.
I do like so. First, Terry,
Sorry for
you
my
speak
rant.
my language, correct? Latin passion. So that's fine. I do agree with you that the focus limiter would be nice to have it in the C9, correct? For sure. No doubt about it. Now, I sympathize with the sentiment there. I think I believe it still can come. The question is whether they are going to wait for the next camera. But I
I
understand.
believe so too. I believe so too. I have said that again and again to some friends of when we're talking about. I still believe they will bring up a new firmware.
Exactly.
But know any rumors? You know how the rumors works, isn't it?
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, no any rumors,
Let's
no
start
nothing,
one.
no
Let's
talk.
start one.
Exactly.
So what?
Nothing about it, which makes me think maybe not.
Yes. No. I agree. We mentioned that if they are focusing now on the C92, they
They,
may
for
they
me, they just push they try to boost the sales of Z8
that
Well,
probably
yeah,
and leave the Z9 back.
I
If they
think the
leave them,
reason.
we'll give them later on, but let them scream for a while. Doesn't matter. I will pass. That's
Well,
so
how I
I think
feel. I'm really, really upset. I'm really upset with that.
very good. So
I
yes,
have both. I have both cameras, the
yeah.
Z9 and the Z8,
I don't.
and I use the Z9 most of the time. I use the Z8 if I want another lens and I don't want to switch lenses, and I'm going to carry two cameras with me, and I'll use it. But if I had to pick one or the other, I would still do the Z9 because everybody says, well, the Z8's the same as the Z9. And I've always argued that no, it's not the same as the Z8. A Z8
No,
is still not a
no,
Z9.
exactly not.
The batteries are smaller. The cards aren't the same. Doesn't have the same, CFE cards in both slots. There are significant advantages to the Z9. You got more buttons that you could program and customize your camera to do certain things. And yes, the Z8 may have the subject detection capabilities and stuff like that. And I think the only reason that they did what they did here, and I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm going to just say the only reason I think they did it is because of the price point. They probably have sold more Z8s than Z9s at
That's
this
for
point
sure.
in time.
Yeah.
So to them, they're thinking, let's satisfy the mass, the majority. There's more Z8 owners than Z9 owners, so let's get it out to the Z8 owners because that one does sell more than the Z9 does, and they're looking at it that way. But I think it would be an absolute disaster for them, for us
Even though
Z9 owners, if they don't update the firmware
Yeah.
pretty darn quick to add that stuff into the Z9.
So
Jeff, when the Z8 come out, I was talking with my wife and a friend of mine here, which is actually a photographer now. He have the Z8, and I was saying, I'm so happy that they didn't put out the Z8 and the Z9 together, because I was believing that if the Z8 and the Z9 were together offered to me, I would have gone to Z8 because of the weight and the price, and I would have regretted.
Yeah.
Now I have the Z9. I know I will have regretted because the Z9 is the camera I have to be. If I'm not a professional, I'm just crazy. I'm throwing money around because that's the problem, I believe, for Nikon. Nikon knows that the Z9 cannot sell so much straight away to the professionals. More of us, the crazy enthusiasts, we spend the money just for the honor, for the craziness we have, and they don't care about so much.
Well, I'm annoyed by a couple other things. That it seems, if you want to believe the rumors that obviously are out there, that says the Z92 is finally going to have the ability to do the pre-capture in RAW, and
Now they're
I got to
repeating
watch my language here and just say, I'll just word it flat out. That's a bunch of crap.
it. Absolutely.
They could have put pre-capture RAW in the Z9 whenever they wanted to do it.
Exactly.
Just like when
Even not on the lossless, maybe on the on the slower.
yeah, and
Which is more of
even
a wide,
even
more.
all scuttlebutt and all concerned by certain camera brands saying, well, we could do 30 frames per second. You can only do 20, but it's not at the same bit rate, and which is why they can do 30. And it's like Nikon could have done that in a firmware update and matched that capability and shut the critics up, because if they could have done that with a firmware change and made it so you could shoot 30 frames per second. I don't have a need for 30 frames a second, to be honest with you, but some people may have it. And it's like they could have done that. They could have done that at any point in time as well. But
for me, they prove they are a small company.
You know,
on the numbers. Yeah. For me, they prove that a small company, they don't have enough capability to cover the whole gamma of their own cameras. So maybe they're split too much with all the other machinery and things they do, but I believe the developers are only few. They must have a very small
they're stretched thin, and plus they're still trying to figure out how to suck in red technology into the Nikon cameras as well. Yeah. So that adds another layer where they probably aren't staffed well enough. And like I said, to me, yeah, I from being the accountant at Nikon, he's saying, put it in the Z8 first, because we're still selling a lot of them, and it'll get more people to keep buying more of them. And it was a dollars and cents decision, but at the same time,
exactly as I said,
it should have been within a month. Within a month.
First on Z9, then on Z8. First on Z9, then on Z8.
Yeah. So, Terry, you feel disrespected? Yes, do you feel disrespected before we go to David and Roy as well?
I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed. I'll be very, very ticked off if in the very, very short term they don't update the firmware again on the Z9. And I am dumbfounded by those two other things I mentioned. I'm totally dumbfounded why you didn't do pre-capture RAW. Even the pros, even the people who represent Nikon, even the people that do training for Nikon said, well, yeah, we kind of told them that people want the pre-capture RAW, and it's a big deal to a lot of people. So they're getting it from their own people telling them you should do it, and they could do it, and they didn't do it.
All the representatives know about it. Yeah. All of them. Yeah. All of them. All the companies, all the shops, they have said that again. We will tell them. We told them. And when we asked them, they said, we don't know.
So
now they're going to maybe use it as a marketing tool to help promote the next generation camera. But,
be against them.
I'll tell you right now, am I going to plunk down $5,500 for a Z9 II just to get that one feature that they could have put in a Z9? Absolutely not.
No.
See, well, one thing that they've got to look at going forward, if they don't keep the Z9 as top of the line, and the Z8 has got more capabilities, when the Z9 II comes out, people are just going to wait and get the Z8 II because it's going to have more capabilities. And they're just kicking themselves in the behind by not keeping the Z9 first.
I mean, the only thing that one thing that they almost have to do is they'll change the architecture to support the new CFE B40 cards so that they could get process data quicker. But even that, I mean, not having that capability for me doesn't stop me from doing what I want to do. It's not that it isn't something that would be helpful in some cases, but it isn't anything that I have to have to do what I do now. So we'll see. We'll see what they
I bought
really
one
really
of the
do.
card, then I send it back. I bought one of the new CF cards, the 4, and I
Yeah.
send it back because it doesn't give me anything on the Z9, and they didn't mention that. Yeah, I had one, and
Except when you download, Eric. When you download, wow, the download speed of these ones
yeah,
is
definitely,
that. I mean,
definitely,
it's
but because
you know,
it wasn't giving me anything on my camera.
no nothing.
Yeah.
Actually, I believe I can't be 100%, but I believe it was a bit slower than the normal one. When I make some tries on a burst shot, and I send it back to Amazon because it wasn't working anything, because they didn't mention anywhere that a camera need a new firmware to accept this camera.
Well,
This,
it needs not. No, it actually needs new architecture.
yeah,
Complete
that's what I mean. A
architecture.
whole new thing. Yeah,
Whole
absolutely.
new. Yeah, it's a whole new PCIe interface that you
They
have to
sending
have.
these cards, and no camera it is on the market at the moment which actually support this card.
Correct.
That was so cheap and attract my attention.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
I mean,
download
it's mainly for people that have to send, like Roy just said. It's for people that are having to move a lot of data fast, and that's mostly going to be for video.
Yeah, yeah.
The only thing it's going to do it will allow you that if you look at that whole time, the whole chain of events in terms of writing to the card and being able to clear your buffer quicker. It'll improve your clearing your buffer quicker. So theoretically, you could shoot more frame rates per second with it. But the big throughput obviously benefit is to move the data from the card into your computer, and that's going to be more larger files for videos and stuff like that. But it will increase your theoretically, it should increase your frame rate because you're going to be able to clear your buffer quicker.
That's right.
Yeah.
No, but the architecture in your camera is the same, and it's probably working at the maximum now. If you
you have to change the architecture to match the 4.0 card.
Yeah.
But
Otherwise, the benefit is not. There's no benefit in the camera. Like
the benefit is that the version 4 cards, some of them are becoming cheaper than the version 2 for the same capacity, but the big thing is not so getting the information on the card because you're limited by your camera, is to get the information off your card.
Yeah.
And that's where the big difference is. But you got to have the right card reader and the right computer for that to make a difference.
But if you want to buy a car, buy a 4.0. Don't buy the prior version. Correct? It's the point that we're making. We're future proofing, and it's so much faster when we talk about cool. Selecting your photos, the one that you're going to put in your hard drive, it makes a difference. But anyway,
don't we overrate the speed? Because I come back many times with 1,500, 2,000, 2.5, 3,000 photographs on a card.
Yeah.
And it takes me just 5 minutes, maybe a couple of minutes more than usual to upload them. What's the big deal if you put it down in 3 minutes instead of 6?
That is true. But on the other hand,
we are under marketing pressure. That's faster. I don't know.
But we don't shoot video, and that's where it makes the differences in the video.
Oh well.
And some of us are impatient as well. So when you're
yeah, I am. Oh yeah, exactly. You don't know about it.
No, I agree. You make an excellent point, Roy. Did you feel disrespected because of not having some of the features in the C9?
I love the Z9. I wish I had the button layer, the D850 though. I like buttons.
Now, I know Randall is not disrespected because he got rid of his C9. So
I think the Z8 is probably my go-to camera most of the time.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Just because it's quick and nasty.
Yeah, and it's smaller,
Yes.
Smaller.
less heavy. That's the only
But-
for me. That's the only reason. I didn't try the focus limiter yet, to be honest.
Oh, fantastic, Luis.
I'd
Fantastic.
love
Big
to
diff-
hear it.
The
For
big
the-
difference for me, the Z9 is the battery.
Yeah,
And doing
absolutely.
something that's going to take hours and hours.
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
want that battery.
Yeah. And the implementation, how Nico implemented it, as I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, great, because you can get access to so quickly, correct? Get in and out of the focus limiter. They did it fantastic. So I do recommend it for the type of thing that you do sometimes when you're, you don't want to go into the background. Wow.
Yeah, I already I already tested it. Let's say in house how to select it, and I put it on my menu as well.
Exactly.
To start it, but I didn't go in the field. It's a quiet moment in the summer for me, at least.
Yeah, but I agree with Terry. They should be in the C9. There is no excuse for
Yeah,
that.
absolutely.
And I do, but I agree with you. I actually, when I had to do quickly, I grabbed my C8 because I agree with Jeff. It's a fantastic camera, the battery life and everything, but the package, correct, of the C8 with the 600 PF, there is no other option for me. Correct? That's
I
it.
think, don't you think there is a bit of problem for the Z8 with the two different cards inside for the people that want to make a backup when they shoot, and they put the one image there and the other one backup on the other one, meaning they will be effectively use the small speed of the small card of the SD card instead of CF. Isn't that a fact? Because I never had this combination to.
Yeah, the buffer fills up faster and it clears slower than it does on the Z9.
Yeah.
Because on the Z9, both cards are much faster than an SD card.
But it's all, like we say, compromises, correct?
Yeah.
It's a compromise. But if I have to go and walk somewhere, okay, I will take the C8. I mean, one of my recent trips, correct? I take both cameras. The one that goes out of my bag first, correct? When I'm stepping out of my car, is the C8. I agree with Luis. But anyway,
if it wasn't the battery, for me, I would have tried to sell my Z9 for the Z8.
No,
That's the truth. The truth.
I'm happy with the decision that I make, correct? Having a C9 and a C8. I would have been, like you said, I would have been a C8 user like I was a D850 user, correct? But I love both cameras, and it's good to have them. But I agree with you. For me, the C8 is the camera that I grab first, right?
Well, I think if you do, I think a lot of it depends, as Mr. Irwin likes to say, and accurately, your use case. If you're doing a high mix of video and stills, that the battery capacity becomes a bigger issue, and the heat dissipation of the Z9 in shooting video is a major advantage if you do a lot of video. If you don't do any video, it doesn't matter. So it all depends on how you use the camera and what your mix is between doing, video and stills. Like for me, I mean, I flip back and forth fairly often, but I don't sit there and shoot a video that's 20 minutes long or 30 minutes long.
Sorry, by the way, I have a question from a friend and I didn't really know how to answer it. Can you make a photograph when you make a video?
Yes.
Or you have to switch to the camera, to the stills, and then back to video?
Well, you can extract a video part of the video to make a picture, but I've never tried it, so I can't tell you how whether
I
it's
never
good or
tried
bad.
it either.
Quality though. It's not
Because he had a Nikon now, but he had together had a Canon. He's a semi-professional, and he was telling me that I think it was the DX or so something. He was doing, or maybe there are 5. I'm not sure. Making the video and make photographs too together simultaneously.
Well, it doesn't do both simultaneously.
No.
What
That's what I was
it
thinking.
does,
I told him that
it'll
no,
say
you have to.
you can extract any part of the video, and you're going to get a smaller megapixel
Yeah, the
image that you can make a print out of it.
Yeah.
But it's not technically doing. It's semantics. I guess you could say you're doing both at the same time because you can extract it.
No,
but it's
no.
not
The
physically.
The Canon he was talking about was making a full frame normal photograph the same time when he was making the video. I'm not sure if there are 5 or
Yeah, I don't know how they would do that. Technically, how they
because
would
he just bought the Z8. He has the 850 until now, and he bought the Z8 and he asked me, "Does do that?" And I thought, "Nah, I'm not sure. I don't think so."
You know why I don't know how they would do that is because obviously you have different shutter speeds that you're using.
Yeah, I don't know how. I don't know how, but
so I don't know how you do it.
Yeah,
you're hitting a video button. You can't hit a video button and a shutter button at the same time.
But if you press the video, the shutter, you don't need to keep it pressed, isn't it?
No, you can press it and release it.
And
but
in our case, you have a different
switch
button for the video.
Right, but if you had the shutter close for a still, it would interrupt your video.
Yeah, but if you are electronic like Z9 or Z8, and many of the Canon, they have electronic shutter too. The R5 have a mechanical and electronic. All right, like the 850. I assume that when you make the video, press the button for the video, then click, and together has the power to isolate the frame. That's what I'm thinking. The way it works. I don't know. I didn't answer I didn't ask exactly how.
I mean, I know the Z9 doesn't do that.
No, that's okay. I knew it wasn't doing it, but I thought maybe there's some way, or I knew just you take the frame from the video.
Yeah.
And Roy makes a good point here, correct? And this is where remember we're talking about new sensor technology, the more the processing speed of the sensor, the more of these two things are going to converge, correct? We may be doing, when we're doing pre-capture or when we're doing all this continuous buffering, it's like a video, and then you just extract the last second, okay? So I think there is a convergence that is going to happen with the faster sensor, and this is where the Sony technology, which actually is out of their sensor systems, right? The sensor company, so they may come into Nikon as well, right? Faster sensors will allow for getting a single image from a video without losing quality like we do today.
Well, it's not just the sensor; it's the processor too.
Exactly.
Because the processor be doing double duty.
Yeah, but David, what is this? Look at that article. Basically, because of the multi-layer, so the photosensitive portion is still one layer. All the other layers, correct, is just for taking the information out of the sensor or taking the best information out of the photo sites, correct? So the sensor in a way is doing some processing, correct? So anyway, interesting article. I actually copy some of the images because I think this is worthwhile discussing. We may do that in the general meeting.
Sanjit says he'll see us in 2 weeks, so we hope you do and join us and have a little time to. If you have a few minutes, pop on the panel and just give us an update on what you've been working on and how things are going.
Now we can start wrapping up, Jeff.
Now we're going to wrap up because my wife's going to say, you said midnight. You said midnight. And I go, well, give or take an hour or two.
or
Which
7.
midnight? This midnight or the next midnight?
I apologize, Jeff, for bringing this.
No, that's fine. I mean, we're not doing a weekly show anymore. So if we go a little over, I don't personally care.
Yes.
I mean,
Just a
my
question
dog
to
cares more than my dog's awake. My wife's asleep. She won't know when I crawl in bed.
What time it will be there?
But anyway, just for me anyway, just want to thank everybody one last time for your efforts and your images and the time that you spend and everybody can have a million other things they could be doing other than partaking on this show and contributing to the show and the 1-2 weeks from now, and it's really appreciated because this channel, long before I got involved with it, has always been about the people in the chat, the importance of the people in the chat and in the community contributing to the discussion. And so without you guys doing what you do, there's no show. There's no show. So we appreciate it. I say good night, and we will see you in 2 weeks. And hopefully you'll be entertained again. And we can have a couple good fights while we're at it.
Yeah.
just before we go, Gustavo, how many pictures of hummingbirds do you want me to send you?
Whatever you want. I mean, I have infinite patience.
100, 200, whatever you got.
In the meantime, I think I already selected like 40 or 50.
Okay, well, I will do something with them for sure. And if you want to be in the panel that day, let me know. Okay.
I normally could at least on the second half.
Just cut that 40 or 50 down to 90, and then we'll be all set.
Okay, good.
So that's good. So we're going to talk techniques and flash photography versus no flash photography setups and all that kind of stuff again. And of course, I had to do with the migrant. So anyway, that's in 2 weeks. We better start saying.
Look in the chat quick. Mookie MC says when you're recording a video on the Z8, you can press the shutter release to take a photo.
Yes.
You see? Yeah.
Well, we need to try it. I didn't know that.
And Greg just showed up. He wants to know if we could start over. Tip for you, when we're gone, you could hit play on YouTube and watch it all from the beginning.
Double speed.
Yeah.
Double speed. Okay.
So, good night to everybody, and please come by in a couple weeks and join us again. And I won't be having. I had my grandchildren visit, so I will be available for the next show in 2 weeks with Gustavo and everybody else here. And so,
come on, again with Gustavo. Oh,
of course, Gustavo's got to be with us. He's silly enough to show up. I blame him. It's his fault. He wants to show up. But take care, everybody. You guys say good night, and we'll call it a night.
Have a nice weekend.
Yeah, good night.
See you guys.
Bye-bye.